Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 291. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V.
Keeping it casual today, Terry. Keeping it casual. It's what are they calling it? Better safe at home or something? Safer at home.
Yes, that's something like that.
That's what I'm doing. Today I let my wife go into work. I know that sounds kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So she has an office.
It's like we just stepped out of the 1950s. You're so nice.
I know. She has an office that is virtually closed, so nobody's there. She wanted to go in and get away from the kids because she's been with them for 3 solid weeks now, practically, and I have been going into work. So today I said, honey, I will go in. I will stay home for you. Wow. And so
let her venture out to Corona Land.
Let her go out to Corona Land. Yeah, so she went there, stopped at the grocery store, came back. It was overall a pretty successful day, other than my daughter who decided to pee on the couch.
Oh.
That's always nice.
I mean, if she wasn't 24, it'd be weird.
That is a little weird.
No. Well, welcome, everyone. We are here on Tuesday night, March 31st. And as so many people have already talked about, April Fool's Day is just not going to be the same tomorrow, and understandably so.
Well, I see a lot of people telling, because it's very popular for internet companies right now to be doing all these crazy things. You know, you would normally see something from Google about some fake widget or gadget. Innova has always done something big, or not big, but relatively significant in our community. I have to wonder if the temperature is even right for that in the environment. Do people want that right now? Or is it kind of one of those things that everyone's like, I just don't want to deal with this. Please, let's just cancel it.
Yeah, don't try and fake me out.
I don't need to see some sort of silly April Fool's gag. I'm not sure. I hope we see it tamed down from previous years, personally.
One of my goals, which I think has been shared before, but one of my goals is at some point to do some form of stand-up. Have some kind of set, I think, as they call it.
I've wanted to do that in the past before, too.
Okay.
I wrote out an entire set one time when I was younger.
So, for whatever reason, it's when I shower that jokes come to mind. And tonight a few did come to mind. And immediately, though, I was thinking with relation to the whole COVID-19 and how soon after will jokes, I don't want to just say be appropriate, because there's certain things that clearly are already on the table and are fair game. People talking about being cooped up in the house, people talking about boredom, some relationship issues, all of those types of things can come to mind that I feel like can be talked about or are appropriate now. Clearly, I don't think there's any joking around the actual virus and the challenges that we face with it. I think it's more of the fallout from some of those things that can be a little bit more lighthearted that are appropriate. Sure. I mean, we see things, we talked about it last week, whether it's late shows that are still continuing on, and of course, they're diving into a lot of those things. But that was one of my first thoughts is, well, first, we need to get to some form of comedy club in general, not myself, but just in general, before comedy clubs, and thinking about all of the ways that we aren't currently congregating right now. And a comedy club is one that's very near and dear to my heart as something that I enjoy going to. And
Terry,
all these jokes make me think about when will that be and how long before we get back to that point?
I have a light. I have a camera. I have a backdrop.
Yeah. I don't believe if you pull this behind, it's just really brick, just like at all the comedy clubs.
It's like a Caroline's comedy club.
Like at all the comedy clubs. It's actually a brick wall behind there. So one of these nights in the after show, it's just going to part, and there's going to be a brick wall. We're going to have a stand, an actual mic stand, as opposed to one of these silly arms.
We're going to get like a blazer, roll up the sleeves, and it's going to be just like the mid-'90s.
Yeah.
True story. Not true story. True. Story's not the right word I'm looking for.
Fiction coming at you.
I do want to get a green screen. I think I've said this before that we can hang up there. We could put a brick background on behind you, Terry, and you could do a hard 7 there, the 7-minute set.
Well, we'll see if that ever happens. And then as I was thinking about it when I got out of the shower, and now I've gotten as far as finally opening up a document and putting thoughts or punchlines or whatever I think they are into the document on my phone. I've been thinking about this for so many years. It was about a year ago. I said, at least I'm going to put them down on my phone. If anything ever comes of it, I'll have somewhere to start with. And as I was doing that tonight, I forgot where I was going with this. Maybe I shouldn't be on stage. I forgot where I was going with. Oh, no. What I was thinking is it sink or swim? Do you just go to open mic night for your first time ever and see how it goes?
Yes.
Or do you take some of these, what I feel like are actually good ingredients to a joke, and then do you sit down with somebody and say, okay, here's my thought process, and then actually hash out these jokes with someone that you could either pay or confide in before you go to your first open night? Or do you just go to open mic night and just let it roll?
I don't think there's a rhyme or reason either way. I believe you could go either way with it. You could sit down with, we'll just say you and I could sit down. You could throw jokes at me. We could kind of hash them out. You would then, just like any other speech, stand up, even if to yourself, do that. But then at some point, you just have to go to an open mic.
Yeah.
And then you can sink or swim.
I don't know. It did make me think, like, because I feel like if you have all the ingredients, it would be great to go to a professional and be like, okay, here's what I think are the ingredients. Can you help me finalize how maybe this gets presented, how it maybe gets officially constructed? If you have all of these things, do you say it this way or do I say it that way? Those are all the things that was going through my head today. So anyway, this coincidentally does have a tie. It was almost exactly a year ago. I was covering the Throwdown the Mountain. I had the pleasure of staying at Dwayne's house, and Simon Lizotte was there. And in one of our card rides to the course, we kind of both discovered just how much both of us enjoy stand-up, like where we both go out of our way to take in stand-up. And then we had a really great conversation about some comedians that we have in common that we really enjoy. We listened to some pretty funny songs from some comedians while we were in the car. And coincidentally, tonight we're going to have Simon Lizotte. And believe it or not, none of this was scripted or at all put together.
No, we don't
I'm
do
just
that
tying
kind of
some
work.
pieces together here.
It used to be one of my favorite things growing up was to stay up late and like once a year and watch Comic Relief back in the late 80s through the 90s. Like I would sneak up because usually what they would do is HBO, that would be like HBO's free weekend because they were trying to raise money for Comic Relief, whatever. Yep. So that would be the free week. So I would pretend to go to bed and then get up and sneak up and watch stand-up comedy because I loved it so much as a kid. And I don't think my love of it has gone away. I just am not as I'm not nearly as forthright in finding it as you are. But trust me, I love it. And a guy who does a couple podcasts is actually doing right now. He's doing a whole series of podcasts on Billy Crystal. Just a lot of the movies and stuff, and that time period when he was really popular from like the late 80s through the early 2000s, and because he's got nothing else to talk about right now. Because his podcast is like really starting to slow down, and so he just is like, I'm just going to do this on Crystal.
Sounds like a good idea. Obviously, one of the legends. So, with that, I think we are ready. We can bring in our headliner tonight. I'd like to bring him to the stage.
We were not good openers, I'll say that. But
yeah, coming in, we got to get the crowd warmed up. I don't know if we did that, but coming in from the Disc Baron Digital Green Room, Simon Lizotte.
Did we make it?
We made it, Simon. How you doing,
Simon?
buddy?
Guys, if my connection is too bad, just stop me right away and I will change to my phone because that should be at least better than in case the Wi-Fi is not good enough.
We'll see. I've got a couple tricks I can do on my side if your signal starts to kind of go south. You might see our side go real blurry. Don't worry about that. You just keep going as long as your side is fine. We'll be all right.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Always ready, always on camera. This guy is spitting out content on the daily. Simon, let's start with that. How do you keep coming up with inspiration for the various video blogs and series and games and activities you're putting out?
Yeah, it's a combination of a couple things, of course. I mean, I love YouTube. I spend a bunch of my time there for the past decade. and obviously inspired by other YouTubers. That's how this little studio also became a thing last week, and you can clearly see that it is inspired by other backdrops of other people. And honestly, I just kind of go in myself and ask myself, what would I enjoy to watch? Like, if I imagine, what if Tiger Woods had a YouTube channel? Like, what would I want him to do on that channel that I would find interesting? And that kind of gives me some ideas on what to talk about or what challenges to do, or even clip something. Or I just go to other YouTube channels that do challenges, for example, golf channels, and get inspiration off of that. It's just a bunch of different things. Or just go out and just wing it. I'm really good at winging it. That's probably one of my strengths. I never really have a plan, or I'm too focused on having a set schedule or set plans. I just go out and see what happens, because then usually the magic happens.
It sounds like you should host a Tuesday night podcast, because we kind of just wing it as well.
Let's go with a Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
Don't step on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll get to scheduling in a minute, but
I was gonna say your newest one has, I'll say, caught on pretty well. I've seen Brody Smith emulate it. This is where you go back 10 feet after making every putt, and for an hour, see how far back you can get.
Yeah.
Now today I saw Ricky's version, and Ricky did it with a one of the marksman baskets, and he got to 150 feet.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw that too.
How far? I didn't watch the end of yours. How far did you get back?
160 feet.
160. Okay. Do you think you could have done that with a marksman size basket?
I mean, I was using one of the skill shots by Innova, so these
the cloth
I'm
ones.
not sure if they're that much better at catching or that much bigger than a marksman, but I definitely had a lot of spit outs and a lot of close calls that would have probably been in on a bigger basket. I know Brody did the challenge. I saw like a handful of other people doing the challenge already, so it's been very fun to watch. And it seems like a fun challenge. And I think I got that idea from Yuli, kind of, because I know Yuli is also building his YouTube channel now. I've been talking to him a lot. He's been asking for advice, and he had this idea to go 5 foot back every time you make it. And I thought that would take too long, too many shots. I changed it to 10 feet back. So that's how that happened. And I know Macbeth has been teasing his challenge that he did on that 10-foot challenge, and it looks like he had about 50 flags in front of him. So I am pretty excited to watch how he did.
Yeah, and you and I talked about it the other day, that it's getting tougher because you're trying to adhere to the PDGA guidelines and CDC guidelines and just personal guidelines. You're trying to stay off of the course, or you are staying off of the course. So you're finding other places and ways to keep yourself entertained. Where does your conviction of that policy, how did that come about? Like, do you just think that's the best move, the smartest move, or the no-brainer, or where's your conviction come from on that?
It feels like it's coming from about 100 different sources, honestly. There's so many people with opinions, and everyone seems to have a different take on the whole situation. But my girlfriend has a master's degree in infectious disease, and her mom's a doctor. So they're obviously very about this whole situation and kind of know more insider information on how things might go and what all this means, and like comparing the media side to the more of the fact side. Of course, I've been talking to my family in Germany a lot, because the situation is almost a bit worse in parts. Germany is getting hit pretty well right now, and everything is completely shut down. So up here in Massachusetts, I haven't felt that much of that. I mean, we're being told that we shouldn't do unnecessary things outside, obviously, and avoid large groups and stuff, like everyone. But I found 3 rolls of toilet paper today, so that was a step forward.
3? Wait, was it a 4-pack with somebody ravaged through one? Why were there only 3?
No, they're selling just single rolls here now.
Sure. Just like the tube. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 79 cents or something per roll, so not too bad.
Wow.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, sorry, I'm going to answer the question and then you can talk. Where was I? Wait, of course, yeah. Steve Hill, PDGA media guy, he called me, and obviously they didn't tell me what to do. They didn't want to put any hard lines anywhere, rules, but he said that they're really trying to make people aware of the fact that going to courses is not necessary and essential. So we should just stay away from public courses because who knows what's actually happening? Who knows what's the deal? And we just shouldn't add any risk. Even if it's a 1% risk or less than 1%, it's like, why would you risk that? It makes no sense. So I talked to UC a bunch, who is having way more trouble than I am because I'm just a player and he's trying to run 6 companies at this time, which seems basically impossible. And he told me, just don't go play. It's no point. And I can do stuff from home. I can do stuff at a empty baseball field where no one ever shows up. And I just can't wait to get back to a course now. So I'm pretty excited about whenever that happens.
So safe to say that your girlfriend and your girlfriend's mother, they haven't deemed it a hoax. Right? Can we?
I mean, of 3 of us, I'm probably the biggest fan of like conspiracy theories.
Okay.
And I mean, we've talked about it, but at the end of the day, most of us agree that we just don't know, and we have to, what's the word? Be humble in our opinions or something.
Yeah, it certainly is a very divisive topic, and of course, even the chat board, a lot of people say things like it's worse to go to the grocery store, and I'll say the one argument I keep seeing is that people say, well, if imagine it's like Skittles, and even if there was a 1% chance that a Skittle was infected, you wouldn't eat it. And I don't think that's a fair analogy because I feel like people going to work, let's say that's 5 Skittles worth, and that's something you have to do. And I think going to play disc golf might be the equivalent of like 1 Skittle. And it's like, you don't have to do it. You have to go to work. People have to go to work. They're deeming certain people that have to. And those are a chance that they have to take. Inherently, someone that's going into work clearly has a higher chance of it. But you don't have to play disc golf. And I think that's where a lot of people are maybe drawing from their experiences. So seeing you, Eagle, have made very public stances that you're not going to the course and you're entertaining yourself out in the fields. And clearly you're doing just fine at that. Are you going to be a better golfer when this is done?
Oh boy, I have no clue. I'm at a point in life where it's so hard to like figure out what my main passion is because the YouTube thing has been so much fun, and I almost feel like more passionate about that now than I am about playing disc golf tournaments. Of course, it's my job. I know that, and I know that I'll always go out there and do my best. But at the end of the day, all that matters really is being happy and doing stuff that makes you physically and mentally more healthy. I mean, that's obviously the goal at the end of the day is be physically and mentally happy. And I don't know, I've been playing a lot of darts here at home, and I love that game so much. I love pool. There's just other things going on, and in the most selfish way possible, this break wasn't that bad for me, honestly. Like the whole touring thing it's freaking hard. Like, especially if you don't have this personality that you can not rent, but if you can have a van with your bed in it and all your belongings and be on the road for 10 months of the year, then it's just going to be tough. And I'm not one of those people that can do that. I've tried it for 3 years in a motorhome, and I was just so burnt out after that. And I was like, I never want to play disc golf again. And now I found this kind of happy place where I can fly to events and sometimes get my own hotel rooms, because financially things were a lot easier for me too in the last 2 years. But then again, probably spend more money on travels and lodging than I make playing disc golf tournaments.
But you're having all that fun.
I mean, I would never trade this for anything. Obviously, all the guys on tour, the tournaments, I still have a blast out there and I still love it. But you got to just find the right wavelength for yourself.
how much do you enjoy editing videos? I mean, because with all the YouTube stuff you're doing, that's a lot of the guys that we're seeing now, or not just guys and women that are trying to build a YouTube channel. I think the big hurdle for them is the technology. You mentioned Yuli earlier. I got a 12:15 a.m. text from him saying, like, dude, this Adobe's killing me. And that was it. That was all he messaged me. And do you enjoy it, or is that kind of just something that has to go, that you have to do?
It really depends on how good I think the video is. Because if I filmed and had a great time filming and I think I made like an ace or a cool shot, then I'm really looking forward to going home, throwing it all together, and publishing it for everyone to watch. But if it's a video where I'm like, I mean, it's okay, I'll post it, but it doesn't feel like as entertaining or as fun or as exciting as I want it, then it definitely feels more like a job, and I don't really enjoy it. But I've been editing for years. Like, I remember I started doing it working with iMovie and stuff when I was in high school, doing like little skating videos with my friends. I was like, one of my main Christmas presents back in the day when I was like 13, 14 was one of my first video cameras, and I would make silly videos with my brother, just circus stuff. It was always like one of my favorite things to do. So I guess all that experience, it was never like my main thing, but it was like a side thing. So I was always decent at it, and I still learn every time I do it. So I'm getting quicker at it. So I think the more I get good at it, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah, as Johnny V was just speaking, I also got a phone call when Johnny didn't answer Yuli's question. He then called me. I don't know why he's not calling you. I mean, you're the pro here.
He called me today.
Okay. So there's going to be
Yuli's making the rounds.
Yeah, an entire tech support system for our YouTubers, and obviously people, like you just mentioning, Hannah and Paul have really been active on their channel more.
Eric and Tina.
We're seeing Steve Rico, I know, did a trick shot and then also commentated over some footage that I put out. Paige Pierce has been putting out a ton of content. She's been talking about Nate Perkins is about to start, getting more into his YouTube, and so on and so forth. It's pretty crazy how all of these, so many of our top pros are, whether it's a release or an artistic expression or an outlet or whatever. I mean, I know it's a big question to ask, but why do you think everyone's doing it? We know why maybe you are. Why do you think everyone else is?
The thing in disc golf is that none of us are getting rich, and a lot of us need a healthy and strong fan base to even make a living. And I've noticed extremely past couple of weeks where my YouTube has really been growing, that the more I post, the more I'm active. This might seem obvious, but I wasn't really aware of this until now, that I get so much more messages and so much more engagement on anything I do online. I can't keep up with it. Like, I remember like half a year ago, if I really tried, I could have kept up with it. But now there's like not even close to a chance. I don't even see like half of the messages I get now. I used to see all the messages and answer like a couple of them, but now I don't even see all of them anymore because it's just way too much. It would take way too much time for me to do it all by myself. And it's pretty crazy. And I think on a little smaller scale, that's exactly what the other guys are going for, is that more engagement, more people messaging you, building your fan base. Because if you have more people, the more could buy your signature disc, and that gives you $4 every time. So, or like not $4 for everyone, but $2 to $4 every time. And that's what can keep you on the road for as long as you want. That's kind of like the dream life we're living.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, and I had this conversation with a good friend of ours in Steve Rico. To be fair, you have a distinct advantage, and you and I talked about this. You have the distinct advantage of right off the bat that you throw a mile. You're brutally honest.
Almost.
You're never afraid to put yourself out there, and you're just naturally gifted at entertaining people. And so, with all those nice things aside, it makes for your channel and your engagement and your fans, I think, to latch on and be that much more excited. A lot of these other people, they might be really good golfers and really great people, but they may not have some of those natural instincts that you do. And do you realize how blessed you are with all of that?
Yes and no. It's like if you watch my first interviews from like way back in the day, if you watch my first in the bag video like back in 2012, it's like holy cow, it's a different person, like shy and like doesn't know what to say. Like now shooting it in the bag for me is like fun and entertaining. Say with the camera. But I remember back then I was so nervous. I hated the camera. Any photo shoot we ever did was for me like a terrible 1 hour to do because I didn't know what pose to do or how to smile. It's not like as natural as it may seem. It was years and years of practice and just being in front of the camera. And UC obviously helped me so much by always throwing me in front of the camera, giving this stage to me. So UC is definitely one of the main guys to thank for what seems natural now. But I don't know if I was always not sure if something is just, oh yeah, you're talented. Like I feel like everything I'm good at because I did it for freaking so many hours until I'm good at it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I don't care what you are. I don't think anyone is really good at anything coming out of the womb. That's just not the way it works. Like
right.
you might have some natural physical abilities that like tall people are probably going to be. It's a little easier for us to throw further. You know, that's just lanky people, things like that. But
yeah, I'm not downplaying it. I'm not suggesting like, oh, you just got randomly got lucky. I'm not implying that at all. I understand that you've worked really hard on a lot of those things, but I think a lot of those ingredients have then made you
like a pyramid.
have made you into what you are. What suggestions? So whether it's to yourself from 5 years or 8 years ago, or to someone else that's newer, whether they're a big name or a little name on the tour, give them your pointers. Give them 2 or 3 pointers right now. Now that you're like the 3rd or 4th biggest YouTube channel in disc golf, give everyone else a couple pointers.
You mean just for like YouTube?
Yeah, for someone else that's trying to build their online presence on YouTube or in the video market. I mean, we saw Drew Gibson last week, go to his backyard and throw 5 discs into a flat screen TV.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, take it however you will, but that's something he did. So I guess my question to you would be, what tips or advice would you have, whether it's for Drew or for a Paige or for whomever?
Number one, and most importantly, is do it because you like it and not because you have to. Don't do it for money. Do it to make other people happy or yourself happy. And consistent. YouTube is all about consistency, really. Like you can't upload a video and then not upload for a week and then upload and then not upload for 2 weeks and then upload again and then not for 3 weeks. It has to be once a week, same day, or it has to be every other day. I've been not great at that, but I've been pretty lucky that some of my videos have just been way better received than I ever thought. Like I posted some videos where I was like, oh, I hope people like this. And then just overwhelming support and positive feedback. And I just sometimes feel like I got a bit lucky here and there with some videos. Obviously, I had Paul Macbeth in a lot of videos, which just pulls in the people. It's just the fact if you put Paul in video, then it's 100,000 views. Like it's just like that. And then if you're consistent with it and people start liking what you're doing, then it should be no problem. Always think if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, and which is a funny statement, and I agree that people can do it. I'm sure others, and this isn't, I feel like I'll say this as well, you shouldn't get frustrated by this, but someone could do exactly what you're doing in a video and put it out maybe even with better quality or better graphics or whatever, do a fancier job of it. And let's say you threw 160, someone could get up to 190 doing your challenge, but their video certainly may not have the draw simply because of the names that aren't there. And that's, of course, with anything when you're dealing with something, someone either popular or whatever. I think too many people get really turned off or frustrated by that. And they have to understand, well, not everyone's got Simon Lizotte in the title. You just can't do it.
Well, I mean, that's one good thing for me is that I started this whole thing with absolutely zero expectations. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I never went into this thinking I'm going to get 50,000 subscribers. I never thought I will get 10,000 subscribers. That's not even close to the reason I started. I never even wanted to monetize my videos. I never wanted to make money off of this. The only reason I monetized was because Discmania gave me a little push and was like, bro, it makes no sense to not monetize. Like, everyone does it. Everyone's used to ads, so just do it. And I'm still not putting that ad in the middle of my video, which I can in any video that's 10 minutes, or you can put an ad in the middle, which basically doubles your revenue almost.
Mm-hmm.
I have still not done that because I'm just like, I don't want people to watch freaking ads during my videos. That's just not my style. And then it just turned into this suddenly part job, like something no expectations, no real goals. And I think that was kind of very helpful for this whole journey.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are seeing what you're doing and think, hey, I can do that. And some can. I think a lot can't or won't stick it out. I think that's the number one thing. You just talked about it's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. There's some preparation that has to be done. There's a learning curve either to editing and or filming and or camera presence. It's not as easy. I had a conversation with someone who I'll keep nameless that really just downplayed the whole thing. Like, oh, what have you been doing all these years? And they think it's like no big deal to just instantly have a big successful channel. And they're going to run their face into a brick wall sooner than later before they find out, there's a lot of work that goes into it.
I mean, like
you can succeed.
Like Simon said,
You gotta work hard,
consistency.
though.
It was one of the things that we talked about when we first started the podcast was, not just, some Tuesday nights, every single Tuesday night. We're here, we're live. That was one of the dedications that we wanted to do, whether it was on season or off season or COVID season, right at this point. We're here every single Tuesday.
And I've been very impressed by that. Even if Terry is in freaking Thailand or in the middle of nowhere, you always make it happen. And I'm the complete opposite of that dude you were just talking about. I think you are overworked. I think it's insane what you do out there. And it just shows the incredible amount of passion and dedication you have for what you do. And obviously, I think it's way underpaid and underappreciated, especially since I started kind of doing it myself with the filming and editing. It is incredible, and I think very helpful for it, and many people appreciate it for sure. And one thing I did, I just got a new camera like 2 weeks ago now, and this camera was $1,300. The lens was $900, and this microphone is $400, I think. And I bought a new laptop that can handle all the editing and stuff and all the video files. And I bought all that crazy expensive stuff, not because I'm rich and can afford it and I don't care. It's because I knew that if I buy all this stuff, I'll commit to it and not just say, I can do this tomorrow. I can start this next week, because I bought something way out of budget. So I commit, and it paid off.
Yeah. And if we want to get back into tips almost, I'll admit, and a lot of people know the story, like I started out my vlog with a $99 camera. It was crazy to me when I then bought a $400 camera. It was even crazier a couple years later when I upgraded to a $1,200 camera. And then a few years after that, I'm buying two $3,500 cameras for throw and catch to match. Like that was the progression. And that's again why you sometimes, roll your eyes when someone's like, well, how do you do this? Like it's no big deal. And it's like, no, it is a big deal. And everyone has to arrive at whatever their process is. We know people like Hannah Macbeth has made tremendous vlogs
From her phone.
From her phone. Like everybody starts somewhere, and everybody, I think, can make the most out of what they're doing. So let me ask this a little bit. You talked about your background. I literally was watching a lighting tutorial last night. So there's some humor in that, or coincidence in that. But any
Is that the Philips Hue light? I saw it changing colors earlier.
What, this one?
The green one. I thought before you came on, I thought I saw different colors happening.
Yeah, I have these crazy remotes that can like do all these lights, and you can just switch whatever the light bulbs is. You can just switch all the lights. I can't demonstrate it right now because I have multiple remotes, and they like all kind of like flip and switch which light they control, and it's a complete mess. So I'm happy with the setup. I don't want to touch it right now.
So my question would be, and I've talked with people like Paige, I've talked with, I think, Tina a while ago. Any YouTubers that you draw inspiration from, or tutorials or tips? Is there, and whether that's really technical stuff or if that's just conceptual vlog type stuff. Is there any YouTubers that you draw from that you frequently watch?
There's definitely a lot of YouTubers that I frequently watch. Like, if I look at my watch time on my YouTube app, it's not acceptable. But lately, I've been watching a lot of like camera reviews and how to set up settings for slow motion and how to use your microphone properly. And I'm still such a noob when it comes to all this electronic stuff. I just basically just always try to wing it and try to like work myself around how it actually works and kind of do things my own way because I'm too lazy to watch more tutorials. But other than that, I watch just a couple vloggers, and I know Good Mythical Morning I watch them every morning, and I think they are awesome. I think everyone that does not watch Good Mythical Morning every morning is missing out on a great 20 minutes every day.
Do you watch some of the vloggers? It feels like there's a few really artistic vloggers out of Canada when I think of like Maddie or Peter McKinnon. Do you watch any of those guys, some of their editing or any of their style or techniques?
I've watched some videos. I just jump back and forth. I like watch all the videos, but I'm not like so much into it that I like know the names of the guys. But I'm definitely impressed by a lot of YouTubers. But those guys have like 5 to 10 million subscribers. That's like not even possible as a disc golf channel.
Well, we say that now. Someone mark the tape. I think they don't still say that, but I mean, I think anything's possible.
Sure.
I mean, you never thought you'd have 10,000.
Jomez is the line. Jomez is the line, and I mean, if they reach 1 million one day, then I think anyone can.
But Jomez is really, for the most part, has been really specific. Like, with the exception of lately, Jomez amassed most of their following by doing shot-by-shot coverage. Is there room for stuff that's not shot-by-shot?
I mean, technically, Brody's the biggest channel right now.
Yeah. But if you compared Brody's views to Jomez's views, it's pretty similar.
It is.
Sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how his channel, and I don't know if he's out there watching right now. He's been in the last few weeks. It'll be interesting to see how his channel continues to, I'll say accept. I don't think that's the right word. How they respond, because he has built it, obviously being trick shots for Ultimate, and then moved into golf a little bit and all that other stuff. But now that it's nonstop, all golf, it's exactly what he's doing and fully what he's doing. It'll be interesting to see how his channel and his viewers respond to that, and if those views will continue to creep up, whether or not his subscriber base creeps up.
Yeah, I mean, Brody, I was talking to Brody yesterday. I think he's in a whole different situation than any one of us, obviously, because he's switched sports now 3 times on his channel, and he bounced from trick shots more to way other stuff, and did like kind of like vlogs with his girlfriend a lot too, and other stuff. So he's definitely more of a full-time YouTuber, obviously, and I'm still far away from being a full-time YouTuber. And I've been just all around super impressed with Brody. The consistency and the quality of his content is just definitely also very inspiring for me, and I want to keep doing it to like chase him kind of, and hopefully get some good collabs too in the future when we can go out there and play again.
Yeah, and we're continuing. I know we kind of started this talking about various formats and trick shots and whatnot. Seeing you guys challenge one another, but then not being able to actually physically get together has been a little bit weird. And then not having a tournament for everyone to intermingle at and to have separate vlogs and storylines come out of all of that. Who knows when that's going to start back up. So, of course, just in the last few days, the president talked about how we're going to extend at least the CDC guidelines for another month. What does that all mean for you, and what's kind of your personal take on disc golf here in 2020?
I have the lamest answer, and it's just I don't know. Like,
No? Okay.
I'm in contact a lot with UC. Obviously, we have the European Open that is like right now, at least, right on this edge line where we're like, oh, it might happen, it might not happen, because I talked to UC, and UC has like there's a couple of options for European Open, what they could do, and they have plans for. But for us, all the people that come from the States is like, when do we book the flights? European Championships is 6 weeks after European Open, in Czech Republic at the Konopiste course. And for me, it's just like, do I plan to go to European Open and then go back to the States? Do I stay in Europe for 6 weeks and play European Championships and then come back to the States? Or do I not even plan on going to Europe at all, just for safety reasons? Because who knows what's going to happen? And I think no one knows. It's unpredictable. I've been asking everyone, do you think we're going to play Worlds? Do you think we're going to play the Portland tournaments? And everyone is just like, no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think Worlds is happening in Utah, personally.
In Utah or in June?
In June.
Or in June in Utah?
In June in Utah, that will not happen, I believe.
Okay.
I think we could see it get pushed back towards October, maybe right after USDGC, something along those lines. Maybe go to the IDGC, maybe stay in Utah and push back. But if everything is basically suspended through May, that gives us 2 weeks, maybe, to get everything set for Worlds, when technically the Worlds crew shouldn't be getting together. They shouldn't be doing.
Sure.
I just don't believe that there's going to be I think we're going to hear it, honestly. And I have no inside information on this. I just think we're going to hear that Worlds is pushed back or suspended, or that they're going to be reevaluating their options in the next 2 weeks. I think that's what you're going to hear.
Yeah, I was talking to Yuli on the phone earlier today, and Yuli was like, we should have Worlds at the same time as USDGC on the same course as the same tournament.
What?
So the world champions at the same time the US champion, because
No.
we can at least kind of plan for that.
What?
In October will be good. That's
Is
what
he
Yuli
suggesting that
the winner
that the title is the same for both?
Yes.
Oh. I don't like that.
Sorry.
Sorry, Yuli. I got a big on that idea.
Wah, wah.
I don't care for that. I mean, yeah, I don't need to get into all of why. I don't care for that idea. I think there's a lot of other creative ideas that could be implemented.
Well, I'm ready.
So what's next? What do you have any challenge? I guess you don't have to spoil anything for us. Do you have any of these challenges or viral videos up your sleeve that you're excited about, or anything you can spoil for us?
Oh my God, the greatest thing kind of is that I have no clue. Like every morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do today? And I kind of just trust on that. It just every day it'll just pop. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do today. Always depends on the weather a bit. Actually, I have a question for you guys, because I have this video that's shot and edited, and I've had that for like 4 or 5 days now and haven't posted it because I don't really like it. And So when I made this Facebook post of asking people, hey, send me your favorite Ace video or your best trick shot
Mm.
to this email address, and I'll review it and react to it on my YouTube channel. And within 24 hours, I got 350 videos sent to me of all kinds of trick shots. Some of them were obviously trolls, but mostly pretty cool shots, actually. A lot of hole-in-ones. And the the quality of the videos vary from very, very bad to very, very good. And I'm just wondering, I made this video that I just picked out 30. I didn't even pick them out. I just randomly took them, put them behind each other, and just without watching them before I filmed myself, I just clicked play and reacted to them. Is that better? Or should I look at all the videos, or at least take like 100 of them, pick my top 10 favorite ones, put them in a video, and then be like, this is my top 10, like episode 1, top 10 trick shots of the first 100 videos that before I filmed it, reviewed and make sure they're actually good and watchable and fun to watch. Because the video I made now was just 30 random videos. Some of them are garbage. Some of them are kind of cool, but it's like my real authentic reaction to them. What's the better video? Because this video right now, I just feel like it's like, is that post worthy? It's just like not great shots and not great reactions either.
I would probably, if there are truly some garbage ones in there, I would probably take them out, or maybe just leave one in for comedic reasons, and
Yeah.
then pull the rest out. But I kind of feel like the more natural Simon, the more off the cuff, feels a little bit more your style, and might get a better reaction, because there's nothing to say you can't go back and say, hey guys, after that video I went through and found the 10 best ones, and maybe some of them are repeats, maybe none of them are, if you really truly took 30 random ones, and I hate to say double dip, but double dip on that content.
Yeah, because with 350 videos,
That's a lot.
I would have content for a lot of days.
Is that some would ask, is that lazy?
I mean,
which part are you saying lazy? Him just reacting, or him trying to get other people to submit their content?
Yes.
well, here's the deal. Reaction channels on YouTube are freaking super successful
I
and
know.
very, very, what's the word? Like people
Lucrative?
love them.
I don't know
I
why.
love them.
Yeah.
I love watching someone react to something that I think is good or I think is terrible. If I watch a video that I really like, or a song or whatever it is, I instantly go to YouTube and put that song in, and then reaction. And then I watch people react to it and see if they feel like I feel or feel differently, or what they have to say to it. And there's millions of people watching reaction videos. So that's kind of where I got that idea from.
Yeah, I'm a little different in that I made the mistake of watching a reaction video recently. There was a particular rapper that I like, a couple of them. And then in Googling or putting in their name, I found reaction videos to said rapper or freestyler specifically. And then I clicked on this, and I'm watching this guy react to the video. I'm just beyond annoyed. A, I think he's an idiot. B, like when they would stop and react and then what they would say, I was just like, this is a waste of my time. Why do I care what this Yahoo thinks about this rapper or song that I already like? I understand. I know it's a huge portion of YouTube right now. I really do. And I think reaction videos in the right way can be great. I really do.
See,
but watching some clown react to some freestyler that I like already, I don't give a shit what they think.
It's all the same as unboxing videos, the mystery box videos we see. It's the same emotion. It's the same feeling. People want, I mean, at least with the mystery boxes, it's like, ooh, what did I get? And whatever. But the reaction, people like to be reaffirmed on what they feel. If you love a movie, I I love the movie Joe versus the Volcano. It's not a good movie, but I love it. And I know that if I go out to the internet, I'm going to see people ripping it apart. And it's just, there are some people that want to go out there and just have, just be reaffirmed with what they feel. Or, I mean, there's a lot of people that just in general,
Or want to get fired up with how much they hate somebody else's
that-
reaction.
That too, or just want to take the idea and like, oh, that's why they like it. I think I like it for that reason too. But Simon, your thoughts?
All right, to kind of defend my video idea here, Terry, like I agree with what you said, but I'm not some average Yahoo. I'm like in the disc golf scene at least. I'm like kind of someone,
the
so it
top
would
Yahoo.
be kind of more interesting. I'm kind of more interesting to see my reaction to trick shots, especially because I'm like the trick shot guy, and how I react to other people's trick shot. It's like watching, for example, Billie Eilish reacting to someone covering her song, which
Got
is
it.
kind of intriguing and interesting to see.
I agree.
That
let me admit,
that's a little different.
no,
I think.
no, I'll admit I think there is a very precise way that I think reaction videos can be done well. I am not suggesting the genre shouldn't exist, and I wasn't ripping on you in particular. There are just times though.
No worries.
No, there's just times where I've seen reaction videos and I think, what do I care what these yahoos think about this other subject? Like, why would I care? And you're exactly right. You watching trick shots, it would be just like, Brody Smith watching, old Ultimate, or not, doesn't have to be old, watching Ultimate stuff. Like, I think somebody watching something that's great in their craft, absolutely. But when it's some guy on a couch that clearly has put 33 cents worth of effort into his YouTube channel, his or her YouTube channel, and they're reviewing the latest rap hit, what do I care what those idiots think? Those are the ones that annoy me. And that's exactly what I found when I found this freestylers, the reaction to their song. I was like, I don't care. So there's a difference.
Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad reaction channels, but I follow one guy. His name is No Life Shack,
Okay.
and he's just this dude that sits. He reacts to a lot of rapping videos. Now that you bring that up, he's like a really huge Eminem fan, and he watches all his videos, but a lot of freestylers and other rappers as well. And he cracks me up every time because he's just so crazy expressions, and he just goes crazy over people. And you should check that guy out and see how you like him. I'll send you a link after this to my favorite reaction.
Okay.
All right, I have to ask, what's the disc of the day behind you?
Oh, what do we have today? I'm glad you asked. This is S-Line D3
Oh my God.
with my little Simon Lizotte Discmania hybrid little shield stand.
All right, that's cool.
And I think Johnny was also asking, well, maybe not, what's the premise behind Disc of the Day? And maybe explain the premise as well.
I was getting there.
You can guess. It is no idea. It is just, I, for some reason, was like, hey, having a disc of the day would be cool, and never talking about it, never showing anyone what it is, just having people be like, why is that there? That was my idea.
Oh,
Well, I'm sorry
you got
we spoiled
us. Yeah,
Sorry, we spoiled that.
you and your gotcha non-journalism. You really got us.
You should have a disc of the day in the background, having people guess why it's there and what it is.
Well, before we decided on the backdrop, I wanted to have different discs up there, and usually it doesn't almost matter the player. I have, or Terry has, a signature disc by that player, and I wanted to change it based on the player we had. So, like, if we had you on, we'd have a Simon Lizotte disc kind of front and center. We have Nate and Val on. I've got a Nate Doss disc or something along those lines. I kind of wanted to do that, but we ended up going with the backdrop, which I'm fine with, especially now that we've rearranged the studio a bit. But so
No, I mean, obviously, I will arrange it for, like, if we have a disc release, or if I have a video with Eagle, it'll be the Cloudbreaker, or with someone else, it'll be their disc. But I just wanted it to maybe become one of these things like my stupid slow-mo montages in my videos. Like, why would I put a stupid slow-mo montage in every freaking video I make? It makes no sense. But now that I've done it all the time and it's almost in every video, I read comments of people saying like, "Oh, this slow-mo montage was great," and "Oh, I couldn't wait for the slow-mo montage." And so something kind of stupid and pointless becomes something that people expect. And if it's a routine, if people expect a different disc there every video, then it might become like one of these things where you like don't expect it and it makes no sense, but it like can be something kind of cool. That
Let
was
you
just
tune
my
in to
idea
see it.
behind it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, really adhering to what the people want. Sounds like a sellout, but no, I'm just kidding. So a great question that did come off the board was, and I think I know the answer, but do you handpick your discs when you're selecting your discs, whether it's for your allotment or for the year or to restock, whatever? Do you handpick them personally, or do those ultimately get shipped to you? And you just say, oh, I need 5 new PD2s, and they just get shipped to you?
It's a bit of both, of course. I mean, I go to the Colorado warehouse like once or twice a year, and I always pack up like half a box of discs and ship them to myself. Um, but it's not like we have like hundreds of discs flying around that I can just take because they're on the online store, and then it's a huge hassle to take them off the store and get exactly which discs I took, because Discmania has everything ordered by color and by weight and by stamp color and all that stuff. So you don't really want to mess around with what the warehouse guys have set up there. But besides that, I mean, we have such a great connection there, me and the warehouse guys and the guys from the offices. It's really simple. Just send a message, hey, I need some PD2s, and it's like 2 texts back and forth, and they send me whatever they need. And I just always add a little text at the end, like, hey, make sure it's good ones.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they know me, they know what I like, they know what I need, and if I don't like them, they end up right here.
Oh, wow. So that kind of segues to the message I got this morning from Discmania saying, hey, we have a special run of discs we're doing. We're trying to support our guys that are on the tour. Men and women are on the tour and whatnot. It's got a special stamp to it. Can you break it down for everybody what that's all about?
Yeah, so it's been actually super awesome, and UC and Discmania, with all the struggles that are going on in the business world, we obviously knew that I think it's like 10 to 15 Discmania sponsored players have like disc golf as one of their, or the primary income sources. And so we need to find out how to support them, because we don't want to go and say, hey guys, get a different job. So they came up with making a new team stamp that has the Discmania heart logo on top, with it says Team Discmania, which you usually can't buy any Team Discmania discs online. So this is kind of the first time we're making those available. And I think a large portion of the money that comes from that will go to everyone Discmania players except me and Eagle, I believe.
Because you're already in another pay grade. You don't get any of that.
Nate Perkins might be included with us too. I'm not sure.
Okay. So that's an awesome way. We know that shortly after the announcement came a few weeks ago, Discraft also had something similar, and I think we're continuing to see a lot of the manufacturers step up in whatever way that they can or they deem appropriate, that they're doing special releases. I think Dynamic may have done something like that. I know I saw somebody wondering if they were going to do that on the Innova side, and so on and so forth, MVP, and hopefully wherever the manufacturers can. It's one of those awkward situations where it's like we'd love that all the manufacturers step up, but at the same time the manufacturers are being crunched as well, because some of them aren't open, some of them aren't able to ship tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of discs out either, so they're losing money every single day. So that domino keeps just falling, and so hopefully everyone's doing whatever they can to continue to push forward.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, pretty insane. I've had a couple calls with UC, obviously, at least once a week, and it ain't easy, right? It's never easy in disc golf to run a business or make money, but especially now, a lot of things trying to make it impossible.
So speaking of Nate, who we just mentioned a moment ago, and I know Paige has been releasing some great footage on her channel. Have you been keeping up or talking to Nate and Paige and Alyssa, who are out in California? That was they've put out some great videos. Have you seen some of the challenges and things they're doing, and the course that they're at?
I definitely watched Paige's vlog. I think it was 2 vlogs ago. When they just arrived at this avocado and fruit farm.
Mm-hmm.
That was very entertaining. I love obviously watching all disc golf content, and I watch as much as I can. But as I said earlier, like the more I post, the more I get messages and other videos and tagged here, tagged there, that I'm struggling keeping up with everything right now. And I probably haven't watched half as many other people's vlogs as I usually would. So I catch up when I can, and Paige is obviously one of the vlogs I would usually watch every one that I can, because with a production team with Alyssa, you just always know that it's going to be top-notch quality and pretty fun to watch because she knows what she's doing. Alyssa also uploaded a new vlog that I watched yesterday, I think, about her whole story and the way she's feeling about disc golf and her future with the sport. And it's very worth watching, very well edited, obviously, and well done. And pretty interesting, too.
Yeah, I'm gonna
pretty
have to
surprising stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that one out. I know there was some chatter in the board about it, and somebody confirmed a rumor I had previously heard, so I won't spoil it right now. I want to go out and watch it. I have not had the chance to watch that. I didn't see that one posted, so I'll have to. And speaking of which, the other night I kind of just randomly reached out to you out of nowhere. It's been a little while since we chatted, but I said, hey, would you mind jumping on and doing some commentary with me? I had put together some footage, the final round, which was round 2, of the 2019 Pro Worlds mixed doubles. And one of the statements that you made that I posted to Instagram as well was you enjoyed watching and commentating because it was fresh footage that you weren't part of. And you found that to be a little bit either more entertaining or at least maybe a little bit more interesting because you truly didn't know the outcome of it. So first and foremost, thank you. I think everybody enjoyed the fact that you were able to join me and help out on the commentary. And then secondly, do you have more time? Can you commentate on a few more of my videos?
I mean, for you, I think I always have time. And if I don't have time, I will make time. Because I'm really good at making time when there's no time.
Okay. Well, I'll tell the world.
Which is good because we have a project coming up that we're going to be tapping Simon for. Hopefully, maybe next week.
I have heard about that. I'm excited for it.
We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah. And I will continue to dig into 2019 footage. I've got some rounds that you were in. I've got some rounds that you weren't in. And just so everyone stay tuned, again, on my channel, I'm going to keep putting out more of that content that I wasn't necessarily contracted for, but we went out and got extra footage. And now's the time. I think if anybody wants to consume stuff from Memorial or from Maple Hill, look for that all in the next couple of weeks. With Simon commentary.
Okay, no, I'm not going to answer the question. I'll ask it a little later.
Ask whatever question you'd like, Simon.
Maybe not.
No, it was completely off topic, and we can discuss this privately.
Okay. I'm going to trust your instincts.
Enough said. When have you ever held back, Simon? I think that's a better question.
The more I age, the wiser I get.
Okay. Or scolded. The more scolded you get. Who's most likely, here's a question for you. Who is most likely, and let's hope it doesn't happen tonight, but tomorrow morning, who is most likely, if you did say something questionable of any kind, who's the first person to reach out to you and be like, who would that be?
The only one that it could be would be Yuzi.
Okay.
Not sure if your dad maybe like if he ever. I mean,
my dad.
He's watched on
My
occasion.
dad.
We've seen him every once in a while and be like, Simon, maybe that wasn't.
Avery, your
Guys,
team
it
manager.
is my dad. It's definitely not Yuzi. It's definitely my dad.
Okay. What's the last thing he had to scold you for?
My disc golf game.
Ouch.
But Dad.
Just asking, like, what the hell am I doing out there, basically.
uh, well, so the 2020 season has of course been very abbreviated. Any thoughts or recap on the little bit you've been part of so far this year? I mean,
Great times. Awesome to see everyone and just competing again. I know I've been talking about other hobbies and other passions right now, but it was so much fun. I felt nerves at every first tee, every round, and that was pretty fun. And it's like the struggle with your own mind playing disc golf is just it's just epic. Sometimes what goes through your mind during a disc golf round, from I never want to play again to this is the greatest thing ever. It's pretty remarkable and definitely extremely fun. And you can only basically fall in love with this whole sport and the whole community. Like this, the amount of people coming up to me and just being starstruck and just having nothing but positive things to say. It's one of my favorite things ever. It's very, very, very fun. So the 3 weeks I was out there, pretty cool. It's changing a bit every year, just the way it seems. It almost feels like it's getting more and more like a real thing and like a real sport. And people are coming out, more and more people are coming out watching, and we're being treated on and off the course more and more like professionals. And it's very, very different vibe out there almost, but still very, very cool. And all the people out there, I feel like I'm friends with everyone. It's very strange, but it's just such a good time always, and I can't wait to be back out there.
what will you? I don't want to say what are you going to take away from this. I think we're all going to learn a ton. But what are you missing the most right now? If you could had to pinpoint one thing about this break, what specifically would that be?
What do I miss the most?
Yeah, like crushing big drives, canning 60-footers, just competition, the nerves. Is there one thing that you're like, I cannot wait for this to be on again? What is that thing? Having beers after the
Oh,
round, you name it. Like what is that thing?
yeah, the first thought I had was playing practice rounds with different pros, different players. Um, Everything around the actual competition is for me always extremely fun.
Okay, so the actual uh we'll say 54 holes of the tournament. Of course you enjoy them, and of course you're dedicated and you're focused and you're working hard, but everything outside of the 54 holes has even a little bit more appeal to you. Is that a fair statement?
In general, kind of. I mean, there's always events I enjoy playing more than others. If you play well, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way my emotions are affected by how well I play, I don't know if it's healthy, but I'm pretty good at smiling it off. But you know, this feeling inside of you where you're like, you just want to like punch yourself in the face for like messing up so badly. Um,
Have you ever cried
yeah, off
after
the
a
course,
round?
the closest I've been to crying that I remember in disc golf was after I missed the eagle putt at Throw Down the Mountain on 18,
Mm.
and
Oh,
Terry
sure.
was standing right next to me with the camera, and I literally almost teared up, and I was like, I can't believe the freaking failure. Oh, that was so frustrating.
Sorry to bring that up.
I mean, that was almost exactly a year ago to the day. But yeah, otherwise,
Yeah.
good job, Johnny.
It was.
Yeah.
I sometimes watch that video back, and I'm like, I wish I could go back to that situation and try that putt again, because that drive was freaking good.
You'll
It
get
was
more
so good.
chances. I bet you have at least 4 more chances at that eagle in the next couple of years.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know if anyone's ever going to be in that good of position off the tee.
Yeah, yeah, that was such an epic drive to land where you did. If you threw If you could go out there with 100 discs, how many times are you putting it back onto that green?
It's hard to say. It's like saying if you're 150 feet from the basket with 100 discs, how many are you going to make? It's like it's kind of luck based. Can you depend on luck? I mean, sometimes. I would say 0, maybe 1.
All right.
Yeah, it was incredible. It certainly was, and love to Mike Barnett. I know they are usually watching or participating down there in Florida. That was one of the first events that really got nixed after we left Waco, and it was very much on the fence. Was he still going to be able to have it? And then of course there's been nothing but shutdown since then. But that was one of the next really big ones where everyone was kind of undecided what was going to happen, and that kind of just got pushed off, day after day, unfortunately. So,
can we have Simon here?
Yep, I think that's him.
That's Simon. We hinted a few minutes ago about a project we have coming up, hopefully next week. Can we give a little sample of that and let everybody know what's going on?
I think we could. I don't know if sample's the right word, but I think we could. We could probably preview it a little bit. Sure, I guess sampling it.
All right, so I'm gonna play this. Everyone's audio is gonna be live, just so everyone knows. You're not gonna hear anything from the video that I'm about to play. But what we have is what we're calling the SmashBoxx Jonesboro Open 2020 remix. And so what this is I picked 4 players: Double G, Simon Lizotte, Ricky Wysocki, and Kevin Jones. And I randomly picked from footage that we have. So everybody had, I think Simon, most of your shots were from 2017, which was a good year for you. We had you on the lead card. Kevin Jones had a couple from 2018, 2019. Ricky has played really well there. I had like 7 different rounds to pick from him, and Double G. And I honestly randomly picked. I haven't even finished it up yet, but it's still got some stuff to do. We're going to cover up some of these statistics, but we're going to put together a fake final round for the 2020 Jonesboro Open, and we're going to have Simon commentate on it, maybe with us, with whomever. Simon, it's probably looking really blurry to you right now because of your internet connection, but
it looks fine.
Okay, good. And so I have no clue who's going to win this. Nobody has any clue at this point. I'm still assembling it, but we're going to put together, because we're missing 2020 Jonesboro. It's not going to happen. We're going to put together these rounds, and this is the first hole. This is the sample I sent to Terry to say, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this would be fun? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take it off because I don't want anyone to see what happens after the drives.
So there you have it, folks. Yes.
This is what we're going to do. I have all 18 holes for all players pushed out. I want to go through and do a little bit of assembling on it, maybe organize it just a little bit, but I don't want to know the answer to who wins. I want it to be a surprise to pretty much everybody if possible. And I think maybe next week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, we'll find a date that works for Simon, one that works for all of us, because most of us aren't going out at night anymore. and we're going to play all 18 holes.
And so part of the premise with regard to Simon here would be something like Simon and I going live, introducing the show just as if we were going live for a regular broadcast, and then we can break down and do the commentary and have Johnny. It's going to feed through as one continuous video. And
we might have a few breaks.
Well, there might be a couple breaks where we can talk about what's going on and break down and recap what's going on. But then Simon and I, for instance, could be doing the play-by-play, and we're going to watch this completely mixed-up, randomized round. You think you're going to win, Simon? That round, at least?
I don't know. It looked like I had the most wind to deal with, so that was not fair.
And you did have different conditions.
That's a different hole. That's just one hole. You had most of your holes were from the 2017 event because you were on the lead card, I believe 3 of the 4 rounds of that one, and so we have all of it. So I only pulled from SmashBoxx and Disc Golf Pro Tour footage. In the future, if this works out really well, we might be able to reach out to someone like an Ian or Gatekeeper or someone and pull some of the other shots, or Anheuser I know was there. But like I said, with Ricky, I had 7 rounds to choose from. He's played there forever, and he's been on our featured or lead card quite a few times. Swear to God, I put it into a spreadsheet, and I labeled everything, and I went to random.org, and I said, just give me 1 through, for Ricky, 1 through 7. All right, 6. Cool. This was the 6th round, which was 2018 round 3. I went out and grabbed that shot. I have no clue who's going to win this. I've even pulled all of the shots already. I still have no clue who's going to win this because seeing as how you guys were on the lead card, everybody's been playing well. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
We're going to set up have to set up a fantasy for this as well.
No.
No.
Well, I think that was a great idea. It sounds like a bummer to edit.
It is.
But it
It's
sounds
not
like
fun.
you had some time. And I can't wait to watch it and see what happens. And my mind will be blown on what's going on the screen, what we're going to be watching. So I'm looking forward to it.
This is great. It's like a reaction video.
Yeah.
Terry will love it. It actually wasn't too bad. I think I'm about 4 to 5 hours into editing, and I've probably got another hour, maybe an hour and a half left before I just finalize everything and render it out and all that other good stuff. And if it has a great reception, maybe we do something like this for some of the other events we're going to miss, like GBO, or there's all sorts of options we have. I picked, Terry and I talked about this, like all hole 1 from Jonesboro, because that course hasn't changed much. But with GBO, we've seen so many different configurations, courses played. Maybe we truly do a random one where on hole 1, Simon gets the country club, and hole 1, Ricky gets Peter Pan. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. When you put it relative to par, it helps out a little bit as opposed to total score. So we'll see what we can do in the future.
Yeah, when it gets really finalized, we can just hit random.
Oh, geez.
And then just run it. Be like, okay, we're going to randomly pull from all these different shots from everywhere.
And that's the other thing we could maybe do. It doesn't even have to be hole 1s. We could make just hole 1 be a random, any one of the shots
Sure.
we pull. Hole 18 from another course, or there's a lot of options that we're looking at. So I'm excited for this.
You're our guy, Simon.
You're the man.
I like it.
All right, Simon. Anything else you want to share with us before we let you go tonight?
Terry, what would be your ideal Lizotte vlog? If I would post a vlog and you would read the title and you would be like, oh my gosh, I got to click that.
Simon comes to
What
Wisconsin.
title would that be?
That's a
I'm being lazy and asking for ideas.
No. It's a good question. I don't know that I have a great answer for you. Gosh. Here's what I don't like.
Okay.
I just want all of us, and this goes for myself, and I think this goes for all the creators, to just get really careful to not push the boundary of clickbaity. And that to me is something. Now, granted, most of my titles are boring because they're event title names more often than not, of course. But I just when things starting getting on the edge, whether it's a thumbnail or the title or both, and it gets a little clickbaity looking, that's when I'm really put off by a video personally. And maybe that's because I'm a creator. Yeah, that's
I'm
because
the opposite.
I don't want to be I don't want to be suckered. If you're providing and you're backing up with the title or the thumbnails implies, I'm all for it. Then go for it. I'm saying I don't want it to be clickbaity and then have that be just truly misleading. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where anybody will lose me.
Correct. I think that's a trust issue.
And maybe I'm a little bit more
triggered.
Triggered, yeah, I definitely get fired up. No, but maybe I'm just a little bit more particular because I'm also a creator of sorts, or I do that, and I'm very careful. I do not want to be clickbaity ever, no matter what I'm making, unless I can back it up. So to answer you,
good answer to the question.
Yeah, no, I know it wasn't.
No, I agree. Clickbait can be extremely frustrating and annoying and triggering. I've done like slight little hints and little pieces of clickbait, more of like a sarcastic and humorous way of doing clickbait, because obviously the money I make on YouTube is nowhere near even worth clickbaiting for, or I don't feel like I'm putting like completely misleading stuff. But I think putting a little, like a slight little clickbaity thing is, I think it's funny.
You're
I
getting
just
into
do
some
it
real
because I think
technical
it's
terms
funny.
here. Slight click baity thing.
There's clickbait and then there's hooks, and I believe that it's really tough to sometimes tell the difference. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But
All
as
right,
far-
Terry. My next video will be the most clickbaity thumbnail
I
ever
so
done.
want to see it. Simon, I want you to find the most absolute biggest. What do you think? If you could pick a headline that would draw the most views, real or fake, what do you
Yeah.
think it is?
I actually, looking for inspiration on YouTube yesterday, just put into YouTube, I put in the word frisbee, and then I went to the filters and went to most viewed, just to see like what's the most viral frisbee video on the internet. And all the top 10 were like furthest frisbee throw ever, longest disc golf shot ever. So it would probably be something along those lines of, I threw a disc a mile, or the longest frisbee throw in the history of the world, or something like that, or some world record, or some longest throw ever, something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I think of like 18 under in 18 holes, and clearly it's been legitimately done, but then you play by some really stupid rules that's in order to get you to that. You know what I mean?
It's like best shot out of your bag.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think more about it, but those are the ones that just wouldn't do it for me, but would probably be awfully well received. Simon, and by all means, I understand the confidentiality here, but are you comfortable discussing YouTube monetization? Because I feel
extremely comfortable.
Okay, so with that being said, and then me having a little bit of background knowledge myself with my own channel, what's like a common, if you'd like to share, what's like a common amount you would make from a typical video these days? Like if we're taking some averages, of course you have lower and higher viewed, but what's kind of an average amount made from a video?
$150.
Okay. And that's when you might be getting 50,000 views on something. When it's all said and done, roughly $150.
Yeah, like my really good videos are like $300, and the really bad ones are like $100. And I would say the average is $150. I've been wondering, have you noticed that like the money you get per 1,000 clicks, has that gone down lately? I feel like mine's gone down
Your CPM rate is the technical term
CPM
out there
rate,
for
yes.
people. Yeah. That it can vary. It varies by the industry that you're in more than anything. And then it also varies by country. So, you know, what you're getting paid if you're, for instance, getting a much larger, Germany contingency or German viewer base, that CPM rate might be technically lower than if Americans are watching the exact same video. Now, is it enough for you to notice? Probably not. It might be $6.83 for one, and then in Germany it's $5.89. I mean, it might not be significant, or whatever the number is. But every industry is very different, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is, depending on what you're doing in YouTube, two people that put out an hour-long video or a half-hour-long video, Simon's video versus somebody else putting out a makeup tutorial, both at 30 minutes, could be making totally different money for the exact same viewership. And those are all kind of the behind-the-scenes YouTube things that go on. So,
are you asking this question about the amount of money? Is it recent in the last month, are you thinking, or is it longer than that? Because I'm wondering if, honestly, what we're experiencing now in the outside world is pushing advertising prices down because companies are spending less money to advertise on YouTube and go, or is it more of a long-term thing you're looking at? like Hannah just said.
My question was if the situation the world is in right now is causing the CPM numbers to go down right now, because I've looked today actually at my analytics. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were like $1 lower than I looked like a month or two ago.
Sure.
But I also could be wrong. I as always, I don't really know what I'm talking about, and maybe I looked at the wrong numbers last time. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't doubt.
I just know that USA is on top for me when it comes to that rate.
I wouldn't doubt to hear, like Hannah had said on the board, she kind of repeated exactly what I was thinking, to hear that statistically companies are spending less because there's less work going on, so the advertising is probably going down right now. Even though we have more people probably online consuming videos, the advertising more than likely is going down. So real quick, we see a couple people on the board talking about Disc Golf Valley that you and Eagle played. Your quick impressions of the game?
I am shocked that I haven't heard of that game until last week.
I was a little shocked as well.
Yeah, and that video has 65,000 views in a day or 2 days. So that's, for me, that's a video that does extremely well for me. And the amount of effort that goes into sitting on your phone for 10 minutes and playing a disc golf game is close to zero. So that really puts a big question mark over my brain, is how much time should I really put into these videos and effort if I can just play a stupid video game for 10 minutes and it gets more views and more it got more likes and more views and less dislikes than my other videos.
Well, I mean, I think if it was unique for you particularly. I mean, we've seen other people, Tyler Brickley and I from Disc Golf Comedy, you know, maybe once a month or twice a month, we'll go on and just play Disc Golf Valley right on our computers. And I have a way to display my phone live on the screen, so as does he, so we can sit and play live. But seeing as how it's unique for you, if it's something you continue to do, you might see those numbers start to go down. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'll never watch it. Spoiler, I'll never watch you two play a video game. And I love you both.
Yeah.
Couldn't be less interested.
And I'm sure, just like Simon thinks, it's way less about the game. I mean, for Simon, it was him and Eagle both suck at the game, which is fine, and that's fun. For Tyler and I, it's more of a reason to get together with people. Just like I've been talking to EMAC about getting on and playing Mario Kart against him some night. Just for fun. Like, hey, let's get online, play Mario Kart, bring some people in, chat, hang out. It's more of a community experience.
Yeah, it's a really cool game, and I think the physics of the disc flight are obviously pretty bad, honestly, and it's one of the most frustrating things. I've almost thrown my phone against the wall because of this game in like the first week of playing it, because sometimes the skips you get are like just like, what? Like you feel like you did everything right, and then the disc just skips 100 feet past the basket. You're like, what is going on?
Oh yeah,
the wind is super frustrating sometimes.
The wind is goofy because it's a 1 through 5, but a 5 feels like a 50. You basically have to treat it like 10 miles per hour. And if you miss a putt and chain out, suddenly you're 40 feet past the basket. You're like, I hit the chains. There's no way I'd be 40 feet past this basket. It's definitely a learned experience, just like any video game. But there are some funny physics things with this one. Tyler Brickley kicks my butt all the time. So
I got my first hole-in-one today during an actual round, so that was pretty exciting. I played against my brother in Germany, who's also just started playing the game, and I've received a ton of messages from people saying, hey, thanks for posting this video game video, because now I have the game and my child's addicted to it and is like super fun, like bringing their kids into disc golf. Mm-hmm. And so it's been pretty cool feedback.
Yeah, my kids know when they hear the chains, because when you open it up, the first thing it shows while it's loading up is like a disc hitting chains. My kids know right away. They're like, "Oh, Dad, are you playing the disc golf game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm playing Disc Golf Valley while I sit here on the couch and watch whatever I'm watching." So
even the cats enjoy that game because of the little tweeting birds in the background.
Sure. Yeah.
Like once I open the app, all the cats like stare at my phone. We have 3 cats, by the way.
Yeah, and if that's not your next video, I don't know what is. All of the cats watching you play disc golf. I mean, yeah, there's your next video.
What
Simon.
about the title? My cat threw a hole in one, and then a cat and the basket in the thumbnail. Would you click that?
Yeah, yes. Cat videos are popular on the internet. That could bring in outsiders to disc golf. So your cat throws a hole in one, I think is definitely the next name.
Yeah.
I'm on it tomorrow. It's my next video.
What is you're one of the guys that I know when we've been out on the course and there's a backup. You kind of famously used to have a phone playing the snake game, didn't you? For a little while, right? Okay.
I'm the world's best snake player. Yes.
I'm sure you are.
Oh.
So, what other apps are on your phone that may be a surprise to someone, or something that you regularly go to outside of your socials?
I just want to say that I can fill the whole screen in Snake, like 90% of my drives.
Yeah, he can, folks. It's amazing.
I have American Airlines app, YouTube Studio, Darts, the best darts app ever. It keeps track of all your stats. It's like the UDisc of darts.
Okay.
And let's see if there's anything interesting. Rental car stuff, a lot of disc golf stuff, obviously. Has anyone tried this Ultimate Disc app? That was the app. Oh, you can't see it right now, but that was this app, this game. Can you see this? Oh my god.
It doesn't.
It's too bright.
Yeah,
it's a little bit bright. Oh well.
Well, it's this app that was on Facebook, like all the Facebook ads, Ultimate Game, where you pass the frisbee through like a wall of other people and then pass it to the next person and to the end zone. If you haven't tried it, it's called Ultimate Disc, and the disc is spelled with a K. And it's super fun and also very addicting. So everyone should try it. It's a pretty cool frisbee game. And besides that, I have like Photoshop and then all the social medias.
Okay, so nothing crazy that takes up your time outside of, I guess, what most would expect you to have. Of course, traveling related apps, a few, editing and social related apps, but you don't have anything else too crazy otherwise.
No, the most games I play are Candy Crush, Yahtzee, and those frisbee games, and now Disc Golf Valley.
Speaking of the frisbee game, I do want to. I will touch on this because I saw it just before coming here tonight. Unfortunately, it sounds like Birdie has fallen subject to the coronavirus shutdowns, and it looks like that's going to get pushed back probably a few weeks or maybe even a month or two. No one's probably really surprised
so sad
by that. But you had some of the initial playing or development, or what was your exact role with that Birdie game? The board game for the
I was really lucky to be able to play this game before it was officially, it's not even released yet, before it was a thing, because I went to visit Paul in Virginia, and for some reason Steve and Todd Dodge were somewhere in that area driving back up to Massachusetts, and they just stopped by and they had the game. We're like, hey, let's make a vlog about this game and we want to show you how it's done. And I don't know if it was just so fun because we played it with the guys that made it, and I was playing with Paul and Nick and Hannah, and it was just a great time, or if it's actually like as good as it felt. Like that game was, without, obviously I'm not getting paid by them in any way or any form for saying positive things about this game. It's just, it felt like the best game I ever played, like actually, and I thought it was just genius. It was so well thought through, and it was just so fun to play Maple Hill on a board game that made sense, and so many fun cards to play, and I can't wait to have the game.
It's so unfortunate that we can't have it right now when everybody's home and we need it, that it just, the timing sucks on this.
A lot of things are also more unfortunate than that, though.
Of course. I'm just saying there are plenty of things. People are home right now for the first time in a couple months, my family's gotten together and actually played board games. We played Chinese checkers tonight, checkers in general, and we played a different board game we played Go Fish the other night with my daughter and my son, and it's like there are so many people right now sitting around in families looking for activities that this particular disc golf game could be going over gangbusters. and it's just unfortunate that it's not able to be had in anybody's hands.
So, Simon, that actually does bring up another question. As you just said, you're not getting paid or compensated for any of your reviews or response to that game. Do you get inundated with people that want you to either talk about products, bring up products, post about products, review them? Do you get a lot of those? And then if you do, what happens when it's not good or you don't like it? Or do you just avoid the entire situation?
I do get a lot of messages like that. Not a lot, a couple.
Uh-huh.
And nowadays, there's two options.
Okay,
Either I take a screenshot and send it to UC
mm-hmm.
and ask what he thinks, because he's at the same time my manager, kind of. And then I just let him handle the whole discussion. Or I say, I'm sponsored. I'm not looking for any more sponsors. I'm not going to get paid by this or anything, but I'll take it. And if I like it, I'll put it in a video and promote it. But I don't want anything else to do with this. I like to offer, but I don't want any money. And I don't want any form of contract or anything. Like, for example, I don't have it right here.
Here's a disc golf guy thing that he made me.
Oh, wait. 1 second.
All right.
Great example right here is
this towel I'm not pushing.
What? The goat towel?
Mm-hmm.
The greatest of all towels.
It's greatest of all towels, exactly. And this guy just reached out to me and said, "Hey, can I send you a towel?" And then I was like, "Sure, I'll try it." And I ended up like really enjoying this towel, and I put it in the video. And he was super thankful and wanted to send me like, "Oh, can I send you 20 towels? Like, what colors do you want? Like, can I put your stamp on them?" And I was like, slow down. He ended up putting my new stamp on them and sending me a couple towels. But that was one of the examples where I've like backed off out of like a potential sponsorship or like being more involved with the brand. I just said like, I like your towel. I will promote it, but I don't want any money or any further deals.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's where things can, as upfront as you've been, that's where things could get dicey because, and I'm just using this as in one example, because if he then posts on his website you with the towel or a screenshot of you in the vlog or you using the towel at a tournament, like it can just become kind of a gray zone of where are you just an end user versus are you an active ambassador or sponsored player of it. And I think those are all part of the really grown-up discussions that we're still having in disc golf of what is sponsored, what is given in kind, what's just a gesture, and then what's contractual and what's not. I mean, all of that kind of factors into that, doesn't it?
The whole business side of anything is so far past my interest and knowledge that I will probably be in trouble for it one day. But I'm just very naive, I think, and uneducated about laws and how especially like taxes and financial stuff works. And I'm sure that I will regret being like that in the future. But as of right now, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I think I trust people too much and I don't question things. I just always think people have good intentions because I don't really think about like why would people want to screw you over in anything? It doesn't make sense.
Well, no, I mean that's obviously a very innocent and great outlook. Unfortunately, it's like you said, it could burn you someday. It just can get into a dicey territory, as we all know with the business, because you're not being sponsored, so to speak, and you've declined any form of compensation or sponsorship. But maybe someone who does sponsor you, I'm just going to make up a name like Grip here, for instance, who does sponsor you, maybe 6 months from now, they get serious about towels. And then all of a sudden there's this kind of awkwardness that can, come as a result of it. And you've used these other people's towels and you really like them, but now somebody who does sponsor you makes towels. Like that's all part of, I think those are the continued growing pains and experiences that we have within our sport.
Yeah, all that stuff has definitely happened to me already. And but at the end of the day, you'll always figure a way. And it's in disc golf, it's always like not that big enough of a deal to be actually a problem.
Makes sense.
For me so far. I might be wrong.
Well, and to be fair, you have a slightly different perspective because there are a lot of other pros that if they got that exact same message, understandably, their first response would be, yeah, what can you pay me per month? I'd love to use your item. I hate to keep picking on these towels, but I'd love to use your item. What do I get paid per month? How many promotional spots do I have to do? And instantly they're jumping on it because it's a source of either revenue or potential revenue that they need maybe a little bit more than you do, who is a little bit more established. So, I can see how that unfolds for everyone. And I think Paul Macbeth, it was a great example of something along those lines where for a couple of years he was talking with and in conjunction with Adidas, and then really kind of came to a point where he said, okay, product and whatnot has been great, but now I need actual cash if I'm going to continue to promote your product the way I have been. So unfortunately, maybe not a lot of other people could get that picky when it comes to saying, no thanks, Adidas, I'm going to pass up what you're giving me. There's not a lot of other disc golfers that are in that position.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Gibson made a really good vlog. Drew Gibson has been firing out the vlogs left and right in the last week. So I've been following that. I've also talked to Drew a lot about equipment and editing and all that stuff. And he made a vlog about why he switched to open bag, like just complete mixed bag, and why he went to infinite discs. And he put it basically just on point. He was like, I just want to promote everything and just say what I actually think about the products and not be biased in any way and say, oh, this disc is better than that disc, even though I actually don't think it is. And I was a bit jealous. I was like, man, I wish I could throw anything I wanted. I kind of wish I could promote other brands because I think they're actually good, but I can't because of my relationship with Grip or Discmania or whatever it is. I don't have a specific example right now. But I was like, yeah, that's such a good reason to have an open bag and not be associated with any brands or companies. And I've asked UC before because I wanted to do the number one distance driver of every major disc golf company. I don't know exactly what those are right now, but like 5 or 6 companies and their number one best-selling distance driver, put them to the test, see which one's like the greatest. I pitched that idea for a vlog to UC, and he was like, no. I thought it would have been a fun video, and people would have probably liked watching me throwing a freaking, what is the Discraft?
A Force. Or
like the Force or the
Force.
The Marauder.
Or the, what is it now?
The Zeus, the whatever you want to, the Raider.
Yeah, just stuff.
The Ace.
Me throwing a Macbeth disc. I mean,
the X-Clone.
He allowed me to switch bags with Macbeth. The X-Clone.
Dude, until the X2 came out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You were saying so he allowed you and Paul to switch. I'm sorry. I'm backtracking in the mid-'90s nostalgia and Discraft discs because it's funny we can name them. You and Paul did that bag switch, which you guys you kind of were open about. You talked about how you both really had permission to do that, right?
So you watched it?
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I did.
Yes. Oh, you didn't? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, not really, but it's Paul Macbeth, so go ahead. That was kind of the deal. So anything Paul, I don't know how he does it. He's just somehow on top of everyone.
Well, to be fair, he usually shoots lower scores than most of you almost all the time. So I think that gives him a lot of leeway.
Yeah, somehow he managed to like just be better at everything. I don't know how.
It's that
I
natural
think he
thing.
cares. So when he goes to a tournament, this just might be a hunch. When he goes to the tournament, social interactions and beers after the round don't interest him as much as the 54 holes of golf. So that's where I love you
Mhm.
both, but that's where I see you two a little different. Is that a fair assessment?
That could be a good point. I'm going to have to investigate closer.
There's your next vlog. Why is Paul Macbeth better than me?
It's just
Would
a
you click
UDisc
it?
screen.
Again, and I do look at the two of you to be very specific, but you look at the two of you for the most part. You guys have very different approaches when it comes to like the week of a tournament, or you in the past have had very different approaches as to where Paul's focus has been, and I'll just say I've never closed down a beverage establishment with Paul on a tournament night, and maybe you and I have done that. That's what I guess I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah. So that might be one difference.
Oh boy.
Here comes a call from Dad.
Uh-oh. Your dad consumes a lot of YouTube as well. I mean, not just stuff you're in. I feel like he watches a lot of stuff. What do you guys talk about? You know, what's either released, or do you ever give recommendations to one another?
We'll send each other a link every now and then, but we usually are really good at leaving each other alone too.
Okay. Is that a father-son thing, or is that a German thing?
I don't know. Our family dynamic has always been, for me, normal because that's what I grew up with and that's what I'm used to. But I think a lot of other families were like just different, closer, and just like more like my girlfriend calls her mom like 5 times a day, and I'm like, what? Like, why? How?
That's. I will say that is a. I hate to stereotype.
Uh-oh.
That feels more
Don't
like
do it, Johnny.
feels more like a female thing, and I'm sure there are some sons that do it. But I talked. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. My mom's birthday was on Friday. I still haven't called her.
Ouch.
Her.
Well, that's
Uh-oh.
just
My birthday was
That's just
My birthday was
terrible.
last Friday. She called me. To be fair, though, last year she missed my birthday. I talk to my mom on holidays, and I talk to my family so very rarely. It's. But my wife has a regular, like twice a week call with her parents, or her mom at least. So that's kind of a thing, though.
Now, this might be a tougher question to answer because of where you grew up, but earlier tonight I posted on my Facebook and I got quite a bit of a response. Is there anything growing up in terms of either a food or a food tradition that was done in your house that as you got older, you found out like other people absolutely didn't do that? So my example in mine was at my family, whenever we had chili, my family would take a saltine cracker and put a little bit of butter on it,
We did
and you
that.
would just eat it kind of as is that way.
think
And
it's
as I
in
got older,
Midwest thing.
there's
Or
a lot of
was-
people that don't do it that way. So is there anything that you grew up and you're like, oh, our family does this, and then you, whether it was your best friend or a girlfriend, and you went to their house and they thought you were crazy?
I actually had this discussion with my girlfriend like a couple of days ago because we were making a chili, as you say, chili,
Okay.
and in Germany, you put corn in chili. Like a chili without corn is not a chili. Like how is that even a thing? And she's from Puerto Rico, which is obviously a whole different culture and cuisine. And I told her, like, she said she wants to make a chili, so I was like, okay, I'm going to get corn. And she was like, what? Like corn and chili? That's not like how? And I was like, what? You can't call it a chili if there's no corn in there. But I now realize that in America, it's not really a thing to put corn in chili. But of course, we put corn in chili, and she liked it a lot. I recommend that to anyone. Put corn in chili.
Okay.
My wife does that. Corn, beans. I mean, the big question of around here is in chili is, do you put noodles in it or
Yeah,
not?
noodles or no
That's-
noodles. Where do you guys stand on that?
She does it with rice. I avoid the rice, and I've never heard of noodles and chili. No.
It's very, it's very common up here to have noodles in your chili. That was just it's almost like a stew. You have noodles, ground beef in there, corn, beans, whether they're brown or black beans. I'm trying to think of what else my wife puts in the chili.
Tomato.
Sometimes sometimes you do sometimes you do a white chili, which is like chicken and noodles and different types of beans. It just
again, now that's where I know you and your girlfriend with two totally different backgrounds and cultures and all of that. I expect plenty of differences there. That's why I was just wondering if people had a difference just among them and other people within their country or heritage or whatever. Yeah, very interesting. There were some crazy responses out on my Facebook wall of some very interesting things that
I
came
haven't
in.
looked, but I'll save one for the after show.
All right, Simon, do you got anything else before we let you go? Your protege, Yuli, has reached out, said he would love to join us if we need him tonight. I don't know if it's just going to be becoming an editing workshop here, but is there anything?
He just brings up his screen. Hey, guys, I'm not sure where's the cut? I'm not sure where cut is.
Yeah, I know you guys are doing a podcast, but how do I render this? No, you got anything to...
No. Yeah, Yuli did that earlier with me. We were FaceTiming, and he like turned his phone to his screen and was like, "Here, look at this. Look at this. What do you think? What should I put here?"
Yep.
And no, he's been super. He's very excited about his first vlog. I don't know if he's going to upload it tonight or maybe tomorrow, but I want to say, everyone, check out Yuli's first vlog. He made a sick little driving not really range, but like driving warm-up area in his backyard with a tee pad and a net. And it's all about the process of getting your own little warm-up facility in the backyard. So once that's up there, just make sure you go check out Paul Ulibarri's first vlog back. He vlogged like months ago, but I think he's back, and I think he's more dedicated than ever.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. I can't wait to watch this video of your cats getting a hole-in-one tomorrow or whatever you're going to release. Super excited to click on that. But in all seriousness, you always have an open invite to join us, whether it's the regular show or the after show, sober or otherwise. We'd love to have you anytime you want to come join us.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. This was almost 2 hours. I told my girlfriend I'll be back in 30 minutes, and it's like 2 hours later. So
yeah.
Come on.
You got to know SmashBox is not going 30
minutes.
She should know that by now.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, here it's almost midnight now. It's almost April Fool's Day in 8 minutes. So maybe I'm going to create a good April Fool's joke on my YouTube as well.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or go play a trick on her. She'll love it. All right. All right, Simon, seriously, we appreciate all the time. Everybody loves watching your action. We'll continue to do so. And hopefully we'll see you like on a course in a real tournament as soon as that's all possible.
Yeah, well, once air travel is safe again, once tournaments start back up, I'll be ready, and I'm super looking forward to it. And until then, like and subscribe. And I hope, Johnny, you turn me off here, or do I have to do something?
You can just close the browser when you're done.
Sweet. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in.
Dramatic exit.
And, oh, wrong side. Gosh, I got fooled.
Nike.
Keep on Nike.
Keep on Nike, everybody.
Didn't Eagle do the same thing when he was on?
I don't think so. No.
Oh,
Eagle's good in front of a camera.
Eagle's professional. All right, see you later.
All right.
Oh,
get rid of that
Simon
guy
on.
already. Jeez, get him out. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Nike. All right, this is not a paid promotional plug by the Goat Towel or by Nike here tonight. Although, Goat, if you would like to reach out to us,
we're always they don't need us anymore because
no,
we just promoted
yeah,
and we have
yes.
Simon.
I don't know if we
but
can
we'll
do
take a
any more
free
for them.
Goat Towel. We always love free stuff.
Yeah, we'd love some giveaways because actually what we do with those, since Johnny V and I never get around to playing, if you sent us some, we'd probably turn around and give them out to other people. Okay. Do we want to close up the regular show?
Oh, geez, of course we do.
All right. Well, then I think we will do it. We'll have some more action in the after show. Looking forward to talking with you guys. Of course, get your keyboards ready if you haven't already. Get them ready on YouTube so that we can follow along and answer some questions or comments that you have coming in on our YouTube chat board. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Simon, Nike-sponsored Lizotte, we thank you guys for joining us. This has been podcast number 291. We'll see you in the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smashbox TV's podcast 291
After Show!
We're going to get right into it, folks. We've got an amazing question off the board. Tara Blair says, hey, how's this after show work? Never been here before. Well, let me tell you.
This is our super professional portion of the broadcast where...
Now, in all seriousness, this is the opportunity where we take anything and everything that comes in off the board. We try to do our best to interact with everything that comes in from the YouTube comment section. You may be watching live on Facebook, or you may be watching it after the fact. Then you're out SOL. But if you are on YouTube and you want to ask us questions, or you have comments or thoughts, or would like us to dive more into a topic, we'd be glad to do so. But speaking of topics, they may or may not be at all disc golf related. So you may have just previously consumed anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours of our regular podcast, which generally is focused on action inside the disc golf community, action topics, reviews, previews, things of that nature. In the after show, there's a good chance that there's going to be a lot of disc golf discussion, but there's also a great chance it will veer off into anything not related to disc golf whatsoever. And I wish there was a running list of the absolute tangents and absurd topics.
I don't.
That's probably best there's not. Of just tangents and absurd topics that can get discussed. And so if you're hardcore disc golf and that's all you really care about, you might want to just stick to the regular podcast or find a more professional disc golf podcast elsewhere. But
there are none.
Otherwise, that's exactly what the after show is all about, is just kind of talking about anything and everything. We sometimes dip into other sports. We usually don't get too far into politics or anything of that nature, but other sports, movies, entertainment, things in our lives,
like
things in your life.
Tiger King.
Like Tiger King.
We watched We're through all 7 episodes.
Oh, there's 7. I thought there was 6.
I thought there was 6 too. When you and I talked on the phone the other
Okay.
night, and I thought, oh, it's 6, but there was a 7th episode. I was so excited. It's such a good series.
Okay, well, do not spoil it for me. As so the first question is, when did that series come out? Because I saw a ton of chatter. I had people reach out to me directly and say, you need to watch this. All right, I think one of my Australian friends said that, but or maybe it was Tom McManus, who's not Australian. It has consumed, like, right under coronavirus. Tiger King has to be the second most talked about thing going on in the world right now.
I first heard about it.
I'll look.
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I
mean, it's not like 2 months old or 3 months old, is it?
It might be. I don't know.
Okay,
we're not going to.
I'll do the Googles.
Ryan Hunt, I promise we won't spoil anything.
Oh no, March 20th, 2020.
Okay, so
was the first episode.
Came out on my birthday.
Whoopee.
All right, so yeah, so 2 weeks ago, yeah, that sounds about right when I heard about it.
Well, then it's not. I that's what I was worried about. Is that has this been around for a month or two and it's just catching up? No. Okay, so that's why everybody is on top of it. I'm a few episodes in myself. You've now completed, I think you said, all 7 episodes that are available. And if I'm just looking at headlines, I see Tiger King season 2 release date and trailer.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't want to spoil any of it because it is so relatively new to everybody. Just all we can say, and I had this conversation with Madison Walker last night. I said, you need to watch it, and she's like, really? I'm like, yes. There's a reason everybody else is talking about it, and it's worth watching. And she said, but isn't some of it like related to Florida? And I don't need that negativity on me. and then it kind of went from there. So she has not seen any part of it. Madison Walker in the Pensacola area. So she was a little hesitant. I think she's worried about either some stereotypes and or some association by her living down there. So
there's very little.
Is Florida ever off the hook though?
No,
Come on.
It's never.
Whether it's politics or anything else, I feel like Florida's never off the hook.
My wife, who wasn't that interested in it, after one episode, she turns to me and she goes, "This is crazy." And I said, "Yeah," and I heard it just gets crazier. She's like, "I don't know how that's possible." And it does.
Hold my beer. Let me go to the next. Yeah,
let's go to the next
episode. Yeah.
But, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything because it is pretty fresh. But for those of you that still want to watch it, it is fun. It is interesting. It is a little wild, and Have you got to episode 5 yet?
No.
Okay.
But I'll just go ahead.
Shocked.
Okay.
Shocked.
I'll just say, yeah, so there's a reason.
My jaw literally was open at one point. Like
I know mine was earlier.
So.
There's a reason why you're seeing a million memes from it, and why you're going to see it probably, if we have a Halloween, you'll see it take over this year's Halloween.
Oh,
so
there will be so many tiger-based.
Exactly. So as obvious
costumes.
as those all might be, there is a reason for all of that. No matter where you stand on either, whether it's the issues or the subject matter or whatever, you will be shocked somehow. That I guess that's the best way I would say it. Wherever you stand on just about any issue that's conveyed in the show, you will find a way to stand on one or the other side of it, and almost all of it will be to some degree shocking. So that's enough of our plug. We're not, unfortunately, paid by them in any way, shape, or form to promote it or talk about it, but it's definitely it's an interesting series, and I can now see why the hype is that's around it. And the funny part about it is it's 100% bingeable in that, like, if you're really having a slow day and you're not punching a clock right now, or even if you are and you get home at 5 p.m., you can consume all 7. You're talking 7 straight hours on a couch, but if there's a time for it, it's now.
It took us 3 days, basically, to watch it. I think we watched 3 episodes.
It's hard to turn off.
Maybe we did it in 2.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember if it took us.
You know what day of the week it is, right? I mean, I know you're in your pajamas and a hat, and you know what day of the week it is, right?
I didn't shower today. Yeah.
I assumed as much.
Yeah, like I said, I stayed home. So
So there you have it. That is definitely the talk of what's going on out there. Also talking about what's going on there, Yuli reached out to me earlier. Now he's in the chat board. I think he's feeling lonely. He wants to know if we
Yuli.
want him on the show.
do we? I mean,
I don't know. I guess
it's more fun to talk about him when he's not around.
It kind of is, and then just be like, "Oh, sorry, we ran out of time."
Oh yeah, Eesh. Yuli. Yeah, we just couldn't get a hold of him tonight as he's in the chat room.
So we probably will have Yuli on here in just a few moments.
Have him log into Skype. We'll get him on.
Yuli, get yourself all ready to go.
We'll do some. We'll have some.
Maybe
Yuli time.
he wants to debut his vlog here. We'll get him to load it up to our server. Okay, never mind. Maybe we won't. Disc Golf Comedy says that I just started watching Tiger King 3 minutes ago.
Well, in about 3 minutes, you should be like, "What the?"
Yeah, exactly.
Not a family friendly.
No.
Speaking of content in Yuli, this week, if you enjoy outside shot-by-shot coverage, outside of the shot-by-shot coverage, you are getting so much of it right now.
Yeah.
Everybody is producing something. This past week, we saw Disc Golf Network do a live rewatch with Ian on the 2014, right?
Yep, 2014.
2014 World
Portland
Championships. We saw, at the exact same time, Brody Smith doing his 1,000 putt challenge live.
Went live and,
Jomez premiered Showmez.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed with it, to be honest, but it's...
You don't have to talk about your dislike for Big Germ here.
He's just... I wait for Yuli to get on before we can talk smack about Big Germ. No, here's what I was just a little disappointed in. It had great production value. They promoted it as a podcast about non-disc golf. And I felt like the whole thing was about disc golf.
Oh.
And so I tuned in to the premiere. I was really kind of excited. Just like, oh, what do we have? Like, what's going on? What is Jomez going to kind of do with this format now that they've got a little bit of free time and this and that? What I didn't realize is it was recorded during Memorial. So it was Nate and Germ talking a lot about the Memorial.
Okay.
And I kind of thought like, oh, well, this is like a month old. So, I mean, that's fine. If they have fresh information, that's not a big deal. And they had one or two kind of little segments. But overall, I was kind of like, I was really hoping to get like, it's funny to say, I was hoping to get less disc golf out of this disc golf broadcast. And so I don't know.
I think what confused me, and I think you just kind of touched on it, is it was funny to hear that I saw a little bit of the Brody's thing at the end. I didn't see any of the any in depth of the World's recap. I was there, and not to say that I'm not interested in it, but it's different when I was there and experienced one of this epic battle on my with my own two eyes. But there were 3 different entities that were essentially live at the same exact time. And all I kept thinking is, it seems like there could have been some timing, so that and now granted, all of them can be rewatched, so it's not like that's a problem. It's not like they've all disappeared. But I feel like if there was even just a little shift in timing, and now maybe we're not worried about anyone's content overlapping anyone else's, but I feel like it was just I was surprised more than anything to see.
Correct.
3 of our larger content providers
all putting out content
at the exact same time. And maybe none of I'm guessing none of them cared, or maybe none of them knew. It doesn't really seem to matter because, again, it's all available for everyone to watch at any given time. But I was a little surprised to see that. I think that's what was probably the most shocking part of it for me.
Yeah. Plus, on top of that, Disc Golf Network is putting out interviews almost every other day. It feels like
every
or
day
maybe it's
almost.
even every day. Mo's knocking that out of the park. We see a lot of other content creators, as we'll have Yuli on hopefully here in a little bit. That just everybody is pushing out stuff now that they've got a little bit of time, and we're no different. I mean, as I said, we're hoping maybe to have a disc golf game night one of these nights where we maybe play some Quiplash or some other games we messed around with. Next week we're going to kind of have the remix with Simon. It's everybody is looking for ways to fill this time, and when you have a captive audience of a bunch of people stuck at home with, you know, stuff that they want to watch, there's no better time for people to be putting out a lot of this stuff. So.
Is there at any point going to be, even with all this time and so many people home, is there a point of saturation? Or are we nowhere near it yet? Just
I don't know if we're near it. I mean, thankfully, people like you are actually putting out real disc golf content. You talked about with Simon. You've got the doubles coming up. I know you've talked to me about some other bonus content that you have that's just been kind of sitting there, and you haven't had a chance to edit. That you've had you went out on your own time and had no obligation, so it was always just in the hopper, so to speak. So I know you've got some real shot by shot stuff coming out. I don't know if we're gonna run into. I mean, with Paige and Alyssa and Nate putting out kind of a content, there's so much content out there to watch right now.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, people have an opportunity to get whatever style they're going to want, because we're seeing stuff that's clearly not shot by shot by all of these content providers. I'm going to mix in some shot by shot stuff. Tomorrow, I'm going to put out a video that's the 2019 World's putting competition of the group that I followed. I had just got done watching the driving competition, and I put that out a few months ago. But I was like, oh, that's right. I followed Greg Barsby, Josh Anthon, and George Smith. And they did the 9 different stations of the putting challenge. This is at the World Championships in Peoria. And I thought, well, yeah, I've got them throwing every single putt that they did. I'll add a little scoreboard to it, and we can put that out. People may like it. People may not care, whatever the case might be. So it's not going to be, necessarily vlog style, but it's also not shot by shot. It's somewhere in the middle of those two concepts. There's a lot of content and a lot of styles and variety of content. I think hopefully it's the viewers that are going to feel like they've got lots of options.
I know everybody wants live, or even if you don't want live and you want, well, throw it in quotes, real disc golf from what's happening today, and we can't have it clearly, but this is quite, this is satiating, I believe, a lot of people in the meantime, and I hope everybody takes the time to enjoy it and give credit to everyone that's out there trying to fill this time. And I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks to be able to consume, because I'm not a big shot by shot person. I've said that before. I mean, we watch so much live that half the time I already know what's going on. I know who's going to win. So to me, seeing all the other extra stuff is really kind of cool.
It makes me appreciate, I'll say this, it makes me appreciate the early season events that I did go to, that I was part of. I know a lot of people are talking about either taking a break or just feeling like the season got started. For me, it doesn't. I was kind of recapping the math on the events that I've been to and the amount of rounds that I've put out already. And I'll admit, I don't mind the break. The moment, the brief, hopefully brief break that we do have, but I've put out a lot of content from 2020 when I think about 3 rounds in Asia, 6 rounds of Thailand footage between the men and the women, Maricopa, the last round at the Shelley Sharp Memorial, 4 rounds at Vegas, the playoff at the Memorial, all of those, like, I've been editing my brains out already this year. So I guess I look at this break time or this slow time a little bit differently than everyone else has, because things have been relatively crazy for me already this year. And I feel that much more blessed that all of those other events took place and that I could be part of those, and have plenty of content already out on my channel. It's been awesome. All right. Do we have Yuli by chance? Does anyone know? Is he paying attention that he's gotten our verbal hints that we're ready? Let me write him. We are ready.
Yeah. Tell him get on Skype.
And hopefully we'll get Paul Ulibarri here.
He knows the routine.
Us. You would think he would, but
are we gonna have to give him a bat phone like we just gave to Simon? Simon, who was having a problem signing into his Skype account on his computer. He had it on his phone, couldn't get it on his computer, so we gave him the same way we let Dana in. We gave him kind of the back door that he can jump on anytime he wants.
Mike, no, we appreciate the super chat, and as well earlier Ace Run Productions. We very much appreciate the super chat as well. So thank you guys for getting on and supporting that. Also, the other thing that's going on,
and I was gonna say, but before you do that, a huge shout out to Paul Winkle.
Wow, Paul,
who was looking. He apparently the super chat wasn't working for him, so he sent us a PayPal for $100.
What?
So thank you very much. That was very appreciated.
Thank you, Paul.
And I've been looking. You were talking the other night about, or not the other night, earlier about lights. Oh, here is Paul. I've actually wanted to put in 1 or 2 more lights in the studio just to brighten it up a little bit.
All right, so Yuli's gonna flip his phone. And then, assuming he's on Skype, once he does that, we should be all good to go. He'll fill up the screen nicely.
Are you saying,
we're not even gonna have to ask him to leave it sit tonight. I think he's gonna leave it positioned in one spot. He done all grown up. All right, I think in just a moment here we're going to have Paul Ulibarri join us.
I just have to change one thing because we had Simon come on.
Make a quick adjustment.
There we go.
And coming in from our Disc Baron Digital Green Room, Paul Ulibarri.
You know what, guys? To act, to be over there and act.
Thank you and good night, Paul.
Like, this doesn't make your day. It's completely ludicrous. It really is. It's like the corona has got everybody so bored that you had to wait in anticipation just to get your little jitters up. You're welcome.
We are so blessed.
Blessed to have Paul.
And I'm going to do a quick segue that no one saw coming. Paul wearing an Adam Hammis hat, and Adam Hammis celebrating his 21st birthday in the last few days. So happy birthday. Congratulations to Adam. Of course, a teammate of yours there, Yuli, as I see you sporting his hat. And Adam is back here in Wisconsin. Some of you know this, but or not, that he resides and grew up about 5-ish hours north of where Johnny and I are. There's still snow on the ground. He's playing a pitch and putt course, which he pretty much grew up on playing. And I think I saw him get an ace the other day, and he celebrated his 21st. So total random side note, but happy birthday to Adam. So. You like how I put all that together, Yuli? Right here, buddy.
That was quick, man. That's why you're the pro.
That's what I do.
The super pro.
I like how you.
All right, let me fix it.
Your camera keeps sliding.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Oh, we love.
Well, you know what it's on? It's on like this old heater. Look at, and it just.
I think you're on a heater.
Let's introduce Paul's newest blog.
Unbelievable.
So, Yuli, every single night before we have a new guest, we always say your lighting looks good, your internet looks good, and then just don't walk around with your phone. Yuli loves to get up and walk around with his phone. Don't do that.
Terry does say that.
I say that every guest, and now you're all stationed, buddy. We got you.
Dude, I got this thing going on. Check this out. No, for real. I'm getting super pro on you guys.
Yes,
I got the foam pads.
What?
I'm gonna put them.
The sound batting.
Dude,
yeah.
Wow.
Look at. Then you'll be able to hear me all good. I got it all in here. I got my own little room that I'm gonna be doing all kind. Actually, I came out with a new show. It's called Crush Box.
Oh, good, good.
Yep.
Crush Cube.
Crush
Cube.
Crush Cube. Yeah, exactly.
That's, yep.
And I'm gonna take that straight to the mainstream. It's gonna be good.
When we have questions, we'll come to you for technical help.
True. Another true story, that foam batting. When Terry and I moved into a house in '99, in college, we were looking for a house. We walked into the basement. We saw all the windows were covered in that because the people that lived there before us, they were a band and they didn't want to hear anyone. They didn't want anyone to hear them play because they didn't want to disturb the neighborhood. We used it as a party room, so to speak. So no one could hear the 300 kids in our basement. So it worked out for everybody.
And none of that sounds creepy.
You mean the 7 kids in your basement? Let's be careful.
No, Terry, somewhere I think I have the ticket from when the cops busted us, and we had to go to court for that.
Oh,
Operating a Class B tavern without a license.
$235 fine for 3 of us. 335?
Okay.
I think it was 335. We got it knocked down.
I'll
to
say
2.
you leveled up. You leveled up just now in my book.
We were hustling.
We were hustling back then. We used all that money to go on to go on our spring break to go play disc golf. As lame as that sounds, but
so Yuli,
I did see some pictures of you guys from your younger games. That's really cool that you guys have been buds for that long. I don't think I could stand either one of you.
Oh God!
For how long?
I don't.
Long has it been?
Every
buds for 30 years or something. Who knows?
We've known each other. We've known each other since we were 14. Probably good friends since we were 18 or 19. Yeah,
so 22 years or so.
Yeah. Every Tuesday I call him and I ask him like, "Are you coming over?" And he says, "Yeah." And I'm like, I can do this remote. Like, I can get you in remote.
I figured this because somebody did say, hey, would it make more sense for you guys to separate during the corona thing? And I said no, because if one of us gets it, the other will, and then we're just going to have to SmashBoxx right from our adjoining hospital rooms.
Might as well.
I mean, we could podcast all day, every day from the same hospital room.
Yeah.
That's right.
So speaking of content people are desperate for, tell us about your blog.
I'm finally coming out, dude. I'm going to tell you this. Computers are intimidating to me. Okay. Mm-hmm. I know nothing, like nothing. And so I've had all the equipment to do this stuff. Like, I've spent the money. I've gotten gifts. My girlfriend bought me this really, really great camera for my birthday, I believe it was. And I've had this stuff, and I did one vlog. But here's the thing. I did the one vlog. I didn't edit any of it. She did. And so I can't just be like trying to put out all this content and ask her to edit. That's just not cool, but she did awesome in the first one, obviously. And so I've just been slacking on like learning how to edit. Like, I'm not kidding you. I can barely turn on a computer. Barely. And so then to go click things, and to get into an actual editing software. See, I'm learning the lingo. Good luck. So the last 2 days I've been editing, I've been learning it and trying to teach myself how to do it. Like plugging in my phone, or not my phone, my camera into the computer. That took me 4 hours, I think.
Don't you just have like a SD card though that you?
I don't. See, that's the thing. My computer doesn't have.
Oh, an SD card reader?
No, it doesn't. So I would have to get an outside source to put the SD card in, and then to put it in. So I have to have a cord that goes straight from my camera into the computer, the USB. But here's the thing. The cord that I was first using was broke, so I just didn't even know it was broken. I thought I had no idea what I was doing. I just gave up. This was like a month ago. No joke. I was just like, I'm good. And then finally, I got it all done. I did a vlog, yes. Simon, thanks for telling the world what I did. Appreciate it, bud. I'm sure there's going to be a video of Simon acting surprised to his own SmashBoxx experience, telling people about my new vlog. Thanks.
Reaction video.
No, yeah. He actually to himself. No, but yeah, I do. I vlogged me building like a T-pad in the back, and it's going to be great. I think I really took the time to do it the right way, and I reached out to a lot of people for help. I reached out to both of you guys for help. Simon, Brody, my girlfriend helped me obviously with computer issues, and so yeah, it'll be good. It will. And awesome. I'm going to try to. I have a lot of film. It's not that I don't know how to work the camera. I can push the record button on the camera. Oh, all right. This is going a little too into it, but I swear on my life, it's really happened. So I'm record all my videos for this vlog. My first ever one. I download all the stuff onto the computer. Perfect. 2 of the files were corrupted.
Yeesh.
2.
That sucks.
And one of them was like the main drag, and you can't get them back. So then I'm like working on it with my girlfriend, and she's like, "Okay, hand me the camera." So I hand her the camera. I unplug it. Poof. Oh. I'm not a genius. Gone. Had to redo everything. Gone.
Yeah, you've got understandably, you've got a few uphill challenges there. I mean, that cord that's probably transferring your cable or your data is probably slow in the first place, like just the data transmission in there in general. And then anytime you bump or lose power or pull that cord out, you have a chance to permanently ruin a file. I mean, those are all, unfortunately, those are all possibilities.
Leave it. That's what I'm saying. Leave it to me to ruin whatever there's 3 steps. It goes from the camera into your computer. I ruined it. I broke one of the rules.
You can't bake a cake without eggs. Yes. The ingredients all need to be there.
But I finally got it done, and I'm waiting. A buddy of mine's helping me out with to have an intro that I have for every one of them, and an outro, and then things for my YouTube to make it all good. Because I am going to take it seriously, and I'm going to try to put out more content. I get more things on like Facebook and Instagram asking for content like that, and with the way things are right now, especially, and as I see touring players put out content, it's either get on the bus or get run over by the bus, and I'm not the type I want to get left behind in this game. So I'm going to definitely go to it.
What's your channel name? Let everyone know where they can find this.
It's just my name, Paul Ulibarri.
Okay.
Yep, and you can go. I just posted just to see if I could post something on it. I posted a little trick shot video with my girlfriend's daughter. Her name's Olivia. She's adorable. She's super athletic, and we did 3 trick shots, and I put it on there. I think I got like a couple hundred views or something and a few subscribers or whatever. But in the next week, I'm going to be putting out that vlog. I also have my buddy working on a really cool idea. We're putting up a top 10 shots of Paul Ulibarri's career caught on film. Okay. And he's doing like a really good job of editing it and doing the top 10.
Just taking everyone else's content. Intro.
Well, I've asked, and unfortunately, you guys didn't get me making any good shots. So,
well, we know whose fault that is.
It's not,
our cameras don't throw those discs.
I got plenty of good shots with everybody else.
That's funny because we usually cover lead cards. If you made more lead cards.
Yeah, well, good point.
Okay. No, that's great. Where do you feel like, do you already have a whole list in either written down or in your head, or dare I say on your computer? Do you have a whole list of like actual videos that are like, okay, the first hit list, I'm going to do it in the bag, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that? Do you have a list of video content you've already got lined up in your head?
Sure. Pardon me. Yes. So my first one's going to be the top 10. And that way I feel like I can get a lot of traffic into my YouTube there. And it's not weird for another pro to share something like that. I feel like it's kind of strange to be like, oh yeah, check out this vlog. It's about him and his family. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of bizarre. You just, you just kind of want to watch it and then like it and do all that stuff. But to share, it's kind of a little weird. So I feel like by doing this top 10, I can really get the traffic, especially from, my fellow competitors, or, you get what I'm saying. They can share it and then get the traffic in there. And then after that, I'll drop the vlog from the backyard. And then I'm working on already another vlog that I filmed a long time ago, like a year and a half ago. I had a buddy from Washington fly into Arizona, and he'd probably played 10 rounds of disc golf ever. And so I surprised him, and I picked him up from the airport, and we had a nice weekend plan where we were going to go to it was right before the Memorial. We were going to go to the Waste Management Open. Mm-hmm. But I didn't tell him that I signed him up for a small tournament at Fountain Hills for his first ever experience with competitive disc golf. So then I interviewed him, and then I wanted to get his take on, okay, I've never even played in a league, and now I'm playing in a sanctioned event. And we filmed him a little bit. And so I'm going to be putting that out there. I thought that would be a cool perspective, especially for new players, to actually be like, oh yeah, so this guy is doing, I kind of want to play a tournament, but when's the right time, or what's it like? And so I'm going to be editing that one in the next couple of days.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to see some of these new, fresh perspectives, because clearly when you started and so many of the others started, vlogging and YouTubing wasn't really even a thing yet. So a lot of our top players don't have like, oh yeah, this is what happened before my first tournament. Now, contrast that with today, someone like a Brody who literally had, thousands of people viewing what he's been doing to prepare for his first tournament. And then he's live for his first tournament. I mean, it's quite a different dynamic than what we saw from way back in the day. What's been the most, I know there's been challenges and of course everything that's difficult is going to have some challenges, but what's been the most fun in terms of you assembling or thinking about this blog or vlog that you want to do? What compels you the most or are you most excited about?
My big thing is I love setting goals. Like I have like long-term goals for this thing, and as long as I can set those goals, then I'm the type of person that I'll work really hard to get there, And so I never really was like, okay, this is something that I want to do. It was more of a filler of like my time, and maybe I'll dabble in this sometimes or whatever. But I've set a pretty nice goal for myself. I won't say what it is, but I want to reach that goal. And to do that, I have to bring good content. I have to do all those things. That's enjoyable to me. There's the work behind it all, and to make sure that it's I'm doing the right things. I don't want to come out with just this blah, blah, product, because I do hold myself in disc golf to a very high standard as far as my brand, Paul Ulibarri brand. And so that's what I have. That's what I enjoy, is to go, okay, this is where I want to be. And these are the things that I have to do to get there. And then I enjoy that process the most. So whatever it is, if it's editing, if it's erasing the files and then having to figure out this or that. Oh my gosh, my girlfriend tried to like recode some things and do all this stuff, because she's really computer savvy, couldn't do it. And so even though that's all, takes a lot of time, I'm really going to remember this experience, this vlog as my first one, to where I did all the editing and everything. I'm going to remember it. And I think I'll take the experience as the most enjoyable part.
Now, one advantage I feel like as all of our newer people are coming into the scene is you can see what's kind of been well received and what hasn't. I mean, we can see the recipe and the ingredients that Jomez has put together, that Central Coast, that my channel, that Live has both had ups and downs of. Of course, then your counterparts, your Eagles, your Pages, your Hannah McBeths, and Simon. You can look at all of those people, and maybe you react, maybe you don't, but you at least have a little bit of there's blueprints out there. Now, how much you want to follow them is up to you, but there's a blueprint. And I don't want to say that makes things way easier, but it's definitely different than 5 or 8 or 10 years ago when just that wasn't really available. Has there been inspiration from any?
Oh, absolutely. My biggest thing is when I look at disc golf right now, and one of the biggest inspirations lately was Brody, to see how passionate he is about just coming in here. But then to see, I got to stay with him for a while when we were in Texas and hang out with them. And we trained a little bit together and stuff and got to know each other. But what I was more impressed with was the after round. We usually go after we're done practicing, and then or after our tournament, and we go and we sit down, we eat or whatever, and we converse, and then that's fun. And he's like, no, we gotta go to a place with Wi-Fi. I gotta get this editing done, and he's on it, boom, 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 every single day. He's getting after it. Like, he's an absolute grinder, and I respect that. So I think above everybody, I mean, I love watching Simon. I saw Drew's been posting a lot of things. He's a grinder as well, but I think just to see that passion from Brody that he brought into the game and then he's using it, I'm like, okay, I want to do that. I want to, like I said, I want to be part of the future. I don't want to get run over by this bus. And that's what we're seeing right now, especially right now. Putting out content, getting your name out there is super important.
Yeah. And Simon recognizes it and others have talked about it. The more content, not only that you're putting out or that you're just generally involved with, that might be from a commentary perspective. That might be from being on the lead card, or that might be from making your own vlog. Any one of those angles gets your name out there, and assuming you're doing well and you're personable, that's going to relate to sales. That's going to relate to a bigger fan base, and you know, there's going to be a residual effect that kind of goes through the line that way. So it all makes perfect sense.
I feel like I've always been the type of person that I dip my toe into all those things. You know, I don't try to just be a one-trick pony and go out there and play. Like I want to be, like I said, I want to be part of the future. I want people that come into the game to, you know, to look at me as an example, to look at me for maybe inspiration as I put out these vlogs or whatever. I want to be that as well. So, yeah.
We're definitely going into a new time. I kind of already envision showing up to a course, and I know it won't be this extreme, but showing up to a course, and I see like the top 8 guys all around hole 1 in the putting green, and every one of them like selfie vlogging. Like,
it's so true though. It is. I can totally see that, and that is my point. Like, I want to be one of those guys. I don't want to be, you know, if that's what the people want, which the masses do want that, because that's they consume all of that stuff, and that's something that I want to give.
Yeah, and that will eventually graduate from everybody will say selfie vlogging to you're gonna have a crew, and you're gonna have 1 or 2 or 3 people that are dedicated just to you and what you're doing, and then there might be another crew that's exclusively doing the actual event, and then you're gonna have your own people. I mean, think back to, I mean, this isn't, believe it or not, this is a little old, but you know, the Meek Beast Diaries kind of were in line with this. You know, Paul had his brother, you know, with the help of Innova, had his brother out there filming for him, and I still think that was a great a perspective and a way to go about it. So that concept's not far-fetched, and that was something that we saw.
No, and in the past years too, I've always been somebody that puts out good quality content. As far as like when I drop like my store or something, I'll have a nice commercial or something done really professional by one of my buddies, to where, you know, something like that gets pushed out. A while back, he put that like where I went to school, and we did like this whole kind of like tiny documentary type thing or something like that. So I've dabbled in this for years, but I've never, like I said, I've never been like set a goal and been like, that's what I want to do. And now I finally have. So
awesome.
We'll see if I just go.
Well, I mean,
like my DG career. Oh,
but you've already stated. You have already stated that you're going to be really excited and proud of your first ever vlog, and that will make you appreciate the work you've put in and the learning curve that all of this is part of. And it's funny because just today I was kind of pushed over to some of my original vlogs, like literally vlogs 1 through 5 I was looking at, and of course, I mean, some of them are just flat out terrible. I'm kind of awkwardly standing there talking to a $100 camera all by myself, trying to figure out what in the world I was doing or saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of those early videos, I admit, aren't that great. By those days' standards, they were okay, but by today's standards, of course, they look terrible. But 900 videos later, to some degree, some days I feel like I really have it down.
900. Yeah, of course, man. My biggest struggle right now when I'm filming myself is looking at the dumb camera. Like, I gotta look at the lens.
It feels weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's bizarre. And so when I'm like editing, I'm like, just look at the camera, you monkey. Like, what are you doing? And I just can't do it. You know, I'm just like, oh. But it's just these little things that you're going to get better at, you know?
I feel like someone had directed me to one of Drew's recent vlogs, and there was an issue from what I could tell. It didn't look like it was in focus as much as it should have been. I don't know if he didn't have an autofocus on, but he was looking up like as if he was looking at the camera, but he wasn't looking at the lens, and it kind of looked awkward. Sure. And so it's a matter of getting more comfortable with just literally staring at the lens, if that's the style that you want. But the way he was looking at it, it felt odd. And again, he's learning, he's fresh. on the scene in the world of logs. So,
well, I find it tough even with us sometimes because we've got the camera that's right next to our monitor where Yuli shows up. So I kind of bounce, and our chat board, I bounce back and forth between the camera and Yuli, and the camera and Yuli, and it's in general just it's tough to focus.
Yeah,
on
but
the
you guys
camera.
have been doing this for so long. You guys are naturals, man. You guys are looking good over there.
we just
You
make
are.
stuff up. That's all we do.
We do what we can.
So, of course, up in Washington, and how have you
Ground zero, baby.
Yeah,
Ground
how
zero.
have you been?
Oh yeah.
How have you been? I mean, okay, but let's start there. Then I was gonna say how you've been dealing with it. Well, let's start with like Washington. Like, what's the vibe there, and how do you think it's different than say where we are in Wisconsin?
You know, I don't know because I don't really go out anymore.
Fair.
I go to a grocery store. I go to a gas station maybe to get an energy drink or something like that. But for the last, what has it been, a week and a half, 2 weeks, I haven't gone to the disc golf course. Once the PDJ came out with that article asking us not to, I felt like, okay, I'm gonna be, I can't go do that, even though I feel like I could totally be out there by myself, and stick to the rules. But as soon as somebody sees me out there, then the next guy's like, oh, Uberry was out there, we can go. And then there's a tensum. And you're like, it was because of me. And then all of a sudden I end the world. So
what do you?
I'm over it.
It's been a lot
which is part of the reason. So I haven't been going out, which is the reason why I built this in my backyard, for my vlog. Is it was a great idea where I'm like, okay, I can't go play, I can't go practice because the courses are closed here. The parks are closed. Basketball courts are closed. Everything is, you can't go out unless you're going on a walk, pretty much. And so that's why I was like, okay, now I can build this, and then I have a tee pad in my backyard where I can use it and throw into this net or whatever, or get my practice in, or film a tutorial if I need to for somebody or whatever on the tee pad. And so, in a way, this has pushed me to be a little bit more proactive in this way, which is good. That's probably the nudge I needed.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people probably can say that with either pet projects or painting that room or doing whatever they've been putting off. For the most part, now's the time, and I know some people are still going to work and still have some, other obligations. But if it's within your realm or scope of something you can do, like I'll just say, now's the time to organize that closet. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need anything special. Now's maybe that time you can organize that closet you've been putting off for the last 3 years.
What are you saying about my closet?
Before I even did the tee pad, I raked the whole backyard, cleaned it all up. Dude, are you kidding me? Yeah, right. Clean my car, oh my gosh. I haven't done that in 10 years.
Exactly.
I found some things in there that I didn't know I used to have.
I've said, or was thinking the other day, like I would love to tackle that remodeling project in my condo. For the most part, I'm just missing all the materials and the tools and the know-how. But other than that, I was ready to really start that remodeling, except for I don't have any of those things at all.
Yeah, well, this has been down here for the longest time, and it's just like I said, it's with all the stuff. Like I've always wanted to do it and have a thing to where like I sit down and this is all professional with you guys, to where I have all my stuff, my little microphone and all that, and then my this behind and all that stuff, and now I have time to do it.
So what have you been consuming? And this could be golf or non-disc golf. This could be Netflix, or this could be reruns of sports, whatever it is. What have you been consuming, if anything, on the old telly or computer screen?
Well, I finished Fear the Walking Dead. I am now back on The Walking Dead. I'm about to finish season 2 Ozark because I quit watching both of those series. Okay. And now I want to go into season 3. What else? I watched most of the movies. I just started, okay, get this. I just started, our family show is Malcolm in the Middle. I've never watched it. Never watched an episode, really. That is the best show ever.
It's very good.
Very, very good.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like, I really enjoy watching that with the family. Now I can cook, have a nice dinner, sit down, and everybody enjoys that. So I just got done getting a victory royale. I know you guys probably don't know what that is.
That's Fortnite.
That's right. And I was doing duos with my nephew, who I just got set up doing that with him this morning. And I don't really talk to him that much. And so this is giving me a new avenue to, be like, hey, I remember you playing games. Like, let's get together and do this. And he's like, all right, super excited. And then we just got done playing. And, I was hanging out virtually with my nephew. So that was great. I reconnected with my sister. We FaceTime almost every day. I haven't really been able to do that for years and years and years because I'm so busy, and I probably should have time for that. But you know how it is. It's really tough. Tough.
How's your mom doing? I mean, I think of her in particular because of all moms that go and watch and support disc golf, your mom's on the top of that list. She literally is at more tournaments than any other mom in all of disc golf. So, and I know you're obviously very close with her, but how is she doing?
She's doing great. I just actually talked to her today when I was on my way to get some groceries. She called me and she was asking me, hey, how do I stream from my phone to my TV? And I just started laughing. I'm like,
you're like, Mom, you're calling me.
You're calling the wrong brother. You're calling the wrong brother.
For real.
Call up your grandson.
But I kind of do know. I don't think you can unless you have a different Wi-Fi connection. I don't think you can stream.
Well, it depends. It depends what she's trying to do and what phone, and whether she's got a Chromecast versus a Roku versus.
She doesn't. She was just trying to go straight from her phone to the TV, and I said, no, there's no way to do that unless you have a exported Wi-Fi. Because then, if you have YouTube TV, you can do it.
Oh, sure.
Because I've done it.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, so she asked me that. I was like, no clue. And then she told me that she was practicing doing field work and doing that, and just, she's staying home and bored.
Yeah, it's kind of everybody.
Yeah. And I think about her community. She's north of Phoenix by a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
And maybe not quite the typical hustle and bustle of some of these other places that we have a lot of other people in. As someone who travels so often, I could imagine someone like herself, like you, really feeling the effects of this a little bit greater than most. Like Johnny V, obviously typically goes to the office, typically leads a pretty, we'll say, traditional, normal lifestyle, where someone like you, your mom, myself, we're on the road 200-300 days out of the year or more. And so it feels a little bit more inhibitive even that way, or constrictive that way.
Yeah, my mom's always traveling. She travels more than I do. She's in and out of Phoenix it seems like every other day. And yeah, you can tell it's definitely kind of getting to her to where she's like, And so when I told her about the vlog, she's like, I just missed seeing you at tournaments, or just watching tournaments, or looking at my phone and doing all that, all that. And I'm like, well, I'm starting a vlog, so now you can see some of the stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm so excited about that, so it'll give her something. My phone just got to 10%. So as soon as it's 0, you're
he's cutting us. The professional way to do it.
Yes, exactly. You'll have a nice fading transition.
I see that on a lot of news channels. Like, you're just like, oh, my phone. Sorry.
That's my next vlog. Is just gonna cut. Be like, sorry, man. What I got. It's what you get.
I know this. There's no answer here, really. But what do you have a thought in mind about when you think you're going to see organized golf again? I mean, do you personally think, hey, I'm really thinking June 1st is looking good? I mean, obviously everybody wants the sooner the better, and we have to adhere to CDC, but do you feel like there's anything that jumps out at you?
No, I'm thinking longer than most people think is what I'm guessing.
If
whatever they say, I say double that and then add a couple more days, and that's probably closer.
Sure. I like that. Now, if, and this is obviously a huge if, and I'll borrow from Sarah Holcomb a little bit, who was talking about heading back up toward Idaho. If something does happen in, we'll say, June or July, that's kind of where the tour actually would be otherwise. You think about Beaver State Fling, July 3rd through the 5th would be the Disc Golf Pro Tour in Portland. Like, that kind of puts you coincidentally in that neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, that would be great. It'd be fantastic. Yeah. But I don't think so. Okay. I honestly don't. Yep. I don't see this. I don't see this going away for a long time. And I'm in the like 4 to 5 month type thing, to where if once professional sports, because we all watch that, that I'm like we have no sports.
Yeah.
But once basketball or something like that, once they lead the way, will lead the path for the rest of the sports. Once we can have that, then it's safe for our little game we call a sport to follow. For real though.
Yeah.
If those guys have that money backing it, and then basketball's going with no fans, then yeah, for sure we should be able to follow suit and uphold to the guidelines that everybody sets to us. So, but as I watch, the sportscasters and everybody, they don't know. So
yeah, it feels weird. Baseball officially was supposed to kick off in the last few days.
Yeah, like our opener was supposed to be, I think, the 29th here in Milwaukee.
Yep.
So it got the cap on, showing support for him, but they're not.
Yeah, Diamondbacks were the 27th, I think, or the 28th. I don't know.
Yeah, so
it's usually right at the end of this month.
And of course, fingers crossed, knock on wood. Hopefully, none of us ever experience, or anyone we know, and ever experience anything like this in our lifetime. But you being a bigger sports fanatic than probably both Johnny and I, can you actually put into thoughts what it's been like not having relevant highlights on SportsCenter every day, not having recaps or storylines at all from any sport?
It's honestly very bizarre. I had a routine where I come home, turn on basketball, come home, turn on whatever the highlights were, and now I don't even turn on the TV. I can't tell you the last time I watched actual TV. Well, I can. The last time it was a game.
Yeah,
but I don't know that I've really noticed that. That's probably the biggest notice is my routine kind of got a little bit messed up, but there's always some content that you can consume and stuff like that. I mean, it just sucks. Sports keeps the world going around. It really does. Keeps everybody together, and without it, it's tough.
Yeah. Where were you? And I know I've told the story, so I won't rehash it entirely. When I found out about, the NBA getting canceled, and I happened to be around a big NBA person, where were you on what I believe was that Wednesday night at Waco, or wherever you were when you first heard of the NBA canceling? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think, let me guess. I think I was at the airport.
Okay.
And I think I remember looking at that and it all kind of came to the realization of, once those started getting canceled, the games for that day, I was like, okay, this is a serious thing, because I wasn't taking it serious. I was just looking at things as okay, whatever. How do you know? The media can do whatever they do and persuade people. And I've never been a big consumer of media or the news or whatever. But as soon as sports, something that I do know, and I have my avenues to where I can get that good content from and everything, and I know that's real. As soon as that started happening, I'm like, oh, dude, if they're canceling games, they're not telling us something.
It's real. Yeah.
Yep. And so I think I was at the airport possibly.
Let's just play pretend. I know this is 100% hypothetical, but let's just say, whether it's July 1st or August 1st, pick either date, I don't care. And all sports are going and disc golf's back up and running. Let's just lay that piece of groundwork down. To follow that, though, would you be at all concerned that the grind for the rest of the year, because of people trying to make up events, people trying to, the postponements and any off weeks are no longer off weeks, do you feel like that grind will be really extensive, really intense? Or will you still try to find a way to pace yourself depending on the event?
Nobody will know, man. We've never had to deal with something like this. No sports really have. So, I don't know.
I don't think you're going to see any major event get rescheduled, other than Worlds.
I don't either.
Other than Worlds, if things happen, like I said, we could see Worlds get pushed back towards later in the summer or into the fall. But if an event is missed, I don't think you're going to see it made up. Of the elite,
No, you're not going to
the
make
Pro
that
Tour.
up. You'll maybe smaller ones, yeah, for sure. Little
Yeah.
dinkies will be able to do whatever. But no, you're right. And like I said, I don't think we're ever going to experience something like this again. And hopefully, we do get to play this year. Like, it's not out of the question that we just don't get to play all year.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, anything's possible yet. I agree.
So, I mean, I've been dealing with this for however long. You know, I had the knee injury, so I was out for 8 months, and then, hey, tack on another 4. Who cares?
Yeah. In talking to someone, conversation I had with Madison last night, she's like, you know, this time off is helping my finger even more. You know, she's been struggling with her finger for quite some time now, and she feels like, well, this is just an extension of that. Now, of course, there's a lot of other downsides. But
we saw Macbeth had that ankle injury that's probably helping him out. You with the knee.
Even Ricky.
Yep.
He made a post recently that he's like, man, this is a blessing in disguise for me. I got time to figure this out. For me, though, man, I worked my butt off to be ready for this season. So I can't say that this time off is going to help me at all, because I feel like I was ready for the season. Otherwise, I wouldn't have went out and played.
Yeah, it's someone's asking on the border, talking about, you know, Japan Open 2021. It's crazy to think it's legitimate to think about 2021 instead of 2020, and we can all hope that that's not the case, but in the back of our head, we all know 2021 might be the next time we see really big disc golf, and that would just be that would be crazy.
I personally don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't either.
I think we'll see it. Like, it would not shock me for everyone to find out that the MVP Open is going to be the first big event that we come back to.
Sure.
Well, and the thing is we are lucky in the fact that, you know, we're not a hands-on sport. You know, we don't touch each other. We use the same basket, tee pad, sure, but we already kind of practice, especially Ricky. Already practices staying way away from the groove. He doesn't have any problem with that.
He is usually way out in front of everyone who's walking down a fairway. That's for sure.
That's right.
He's charging away.
So we are lucky in the fact that we have our own equipment, and I think we saw the PGA was maybe the last right before us, the last to really cancel theirs.
Yeah,
because of the same reason.
PGA,
you're outside. You're outside. You have your own equipment, like I said, and then obviously you share the basket. But other than that, I mean, it's probably one of the. I wouldn't even say, because I'll just get ripped up in the comments like, you don't know what you're talking about.
We're just going to have dedicated people at every hole for Lysoling the baskets just to make sure for like the first 2 months.
What do you think about, let's tangent quick. I don't know how many percentages you have left there, probably just a couple, but
Sure.
What do you think about the UFC still trying to move forward with their matches and all of that? Like, what?
I think it's smart. I think having two people who are, you know, 2 weeks into their quarantine and they're healthy, and then they fight each other and they only have the equipment there and the media there, and there's no fans. I think it's fine. You know, these guys are taking the precautions to do so, and it's providing something for us to watch. Like, I do think I like it personally.
And I know it's not the same because it's not a real sport, but WWE is doing the same thing. They're having like I read an article about how they're doing all their matches in like a private facility, not at whatever big stadium they were going to do. Was it WrestleMania or something? Because it's the same concept. Two people, you know, that have probably gone through all of the quarantine beforehand, and you know, and at the time, I know, you know, take it for what it is, but that they feel like they are in a safe position to do that. So.
I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but it seems to me like they could be going right now.
That's so tough because you have the whole pit crew, and
you do,
and so that would be, I think that.
But they're already in gloves and masks and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're already all kind of ready to get to. They've already quarantined themselves.
That's their own PPE. You get down with the lingo. They're in their own PPE already. Okay. Part of me, I totally understand, and I'm not saying I disagree with your take on the UFC thing. To me, at the end of the day, if I understand Dana White, it looks like he's also just worried about his checkbook. I mean, maybe more than most. He's worried about the revenue that's coming in, and I know that affects then all the other people that fall underneath him, including the fighters. But it seems like Dana's more concerned about revenue than anything else when it comes down to his decision making.
Well, the thing about it is it's not really his decision, I believe. It's not his decision. He has to has to go under the stipulations of wherever they're fighting, and I believe they're trying to fight in Las Vegas, possibly. Which in that case, they're that's one of the strictest places right now.
Yeah.
So if they're under all those stipulations and they're meeting all the guidelines, then why not?
Yeah. And then another question becomes of who can pay for it. Are people watching? Are people watching their pocketbook? Because depending on how you're being affected, may determine. You may say, "Hey, I'd love to support our top pros, but they may have lost their job for the next 3 months, and
so did I.
So did I. So everyone's in a slightly different position as to how where they're going to be spread.
Do I need to get in there and fight Conor McGregor? Maybe. Will I? Maybe.
For that paycheck,
for the right money, you will.
Let me give Dana a call. I'll get in there.
You imagine how big your vlog would blow up? I mean, if you got coverage of that.
Seriously. Oh, that would be good stuff. I would be I would beat Ben Askren for fastest knockout.
I was just
great.
I was just gonna...
No, you'd be smart enough to run away.
I would just be running
just in a circle around the octagon. Like, don't hit me, don't hit me.
I know we talked about content a minute ago. You didn't mention Tiger King? It's been a hot topic tonight. Have you?
You know what? I'm gonna start it. I think tonight.
Okay.
Just because everybody is so into it, and I didn't think it would be that big a deal.
Yep.
And because of the hype, I'm definitely gonna do it.
Yep. I will be the first to admit. Let me be very clear. When it comes to either localized or even nationwide trends, I usually do not get sucked into them. I don't need to.
Same here.
I'm totally good with, I'm not doing this. I've yet to be to an escape room. Fine. I don't care. All right. We'll use that as an example.
I've never done one.
I've been to one.
So when those come about, usually I'm good with keeping them at bay and then easing into them whenever I need to. Tiger King.
My girlfriend just brought me a...
Oh, great. Oh, darn it.
He's nice.
Shoot. I mean,
sorry.
You're
bummer.
So when it comes to this, though, after a few days of hype, I went for it. I took the bait.
Yep.
Nice. And here we are.
My wife was scrolling through her Facebook feed, and just in I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was even this morning, she saw 2 or 3 memes already, and I just said, this is kind of why you have to see it, or at least have a general idea. Not that, because most of the time I don't care if I'm left out in the dark on a lot of that stuff, but this is one of those things. It's everywhere, and that's partially because everybody's locked up in their house. And
that's a good point.
And
it's probably a horrible series.
Yeah, and it's
overhyped.
It's definitely worth watching. I became a sucker for it. So your vlog schedule, Simon was running an ad for your vlog that it was going to be out tomorrow. Are you telling us don't hold our breath?
So the vlog won't be out tomorrow for sure.
Okay.
What I'm hoping will be out tomorrow is my top 10.
Okay.
That'll be my first post to the YouTube channel, will be the top 10. Besides the little trick shot video. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. It's really cute. And it really is.
Okay.
Go check that out. Yeah.
Have you been in touch with some of your teammates? I mean, I'll say a teammate perspective. Have you? Oh, now he's going to be out of touch with Skype here. We'll see if we can get Yuli as he's seemingly just dropped from us a moment ago.
That's what
Did he plug that cord into his phone or into a wall?
Well, We'll do this for now until we get him back. Oh.
All right, we'll see if we can get him. Looks like we might be able to bring him back.
No, that's not.
Okay.
That's a frozen shot of him doing that. When he comes back, we'll make sure to do that. We can always reconnect with him as well.
It's so funny, yeah, just to see the frozen shot of him off screen. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna see some fresh new Yuli content tomorrow.
I mean, this is a bigger issue worldwide. Do you think we're gonna see major cultural changes after this?
Yes.
Like what? Like,
well, I mean, I know an easy one that everyone's saying is, how handshaking is disgusting or old or should be done away with anyway. Some people have said that.
It's not going
Will
away.
It happen or not?
Nope.
I don't know. But this is definitely giving everyone a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of indifferent to it, which is funny because it's been such a cultural norm of ours for how many decades? I understand that. Will it go away? Could it go away? I don't know. Would it then get replaced with anything? With less content? No content? I mean, I'm all for hugging more people.
I was going to say, which is funny because you and we're
huggers.
To be huggers.
We're Yuli huggers. Knows we're huggers.
And I wonder if we're going to see different things. Like right now we're seeing not a lot, but we're seeing some movies go right to Netflix. They're skipping.
Sure.
Are we going to see more of that? Is this a good chance for the movie industry to kind of take a step back and say, maybe we don't need the movie theaters. Maybe we can charge $30 for a home viewing because an average family is going to probably pay that, if not more.
Yeah, way more than that.
Just to see the movie. Or maybe it's $40 because it's on average $10 a ticket. Because movie theaters don't make any money on the movie. They make all their money on concessions.
Yeah.
Are we going to see changes like that?
And concessions generally are disgusting. Well, sorry. Some of them are very disgusting. Getting handed a box of Raisinets, not so disgusting. I love Raisinets.
The popcorn.
But yeah, the popcorn and then the soda and then somebody doing whatever they're doing with their hand and then digging in to get the ice out and then probably or maybe leaving the ice scoop in with the rest of the ice. Which and all the other disgusting things.
You're not the only person
that
that's mentioned that, and that doesn't bother me one bit. At work, we have an ice dispenser, but a lot of times it'll get stuck or clogged, or it'll be empty. I open up the freezer. There's the ice scooper sitting in the ice. I grab it, scoop it.
And that's disgusting. Why is it not?
I don't think it's that gross. Honestly,
it's just like contaminating any other spot, though. I mean, that's fine if you don't think it's gross, but it is.
I have no issues with it, and I don't understand. It's so minor. It's just so minor to me. Like, you think of every doorknob you touch.
Oh, of course. I'm not denying there's not a hundred. And I'm the first to admit there's 100 other disgusting places. And I actively try to eliminate those more and more often the older I get too.
Oh, I don't care. That's
classic
so
example. Classic example is, I feel like I just talked about this recently, is when someone goes to put ketchup on something. You go to, we'll say Culver's, and let's just say they have a squeeze bottle, or you go to an old diner, and they've got a squeeze bottle. That squeeze bottle's disgusting. So what do I do now? For a few years, I take a napkin, I put that around the ketchup, and then I will squirt it onto my plate for my fries. Because otherwise what you don't do is you take your hand, you put it on the ketchup bottle, you squirt it on your fries.
And then you grab your food.
And then you grab your food and you lick it, and then you come along and you do the same thing on that ketchup bottle that never gets probably washed. I personally I'll take a napkin to that ketchup bottle, and then I'll discard the napkin immediately. And it's just something minor. People think I'm crazy. That's fine. But I thought about how disgusting that ketchup bottle is.
And I think there's plenty of restaurants that have glass ketchup bottles. You don't know that somebody didn't just, take their finger and wipe the side of it. Just as
far less likely, but
less likely. But you just the way I look at it, and the way I personally tend to live is like
a disgusting pig.
Unless it's like visually gross. Like if you walk in,
if you safeguard everything. I agree.
I feel there are precautions you can take. There's a lot of new buildings right now that are actually
hands-free,
making door handles out of blacklight type stuff, and that helps kill germs. And I don't think it's blacklight, but it's some sort of ultraviolet or UV light. I just feel like we touch so many things every day that it almost makes no difference. Like the ice, I think that is the most minor thing. I feel that way when the office gets pizza. Everybody has, like, there's a chip dispenser. Everyone has this little chip thing, and sure, go ahead and use that. That's
and then
fine.
your hands just touch the same chip.
Just touch the same
I
chip
agree.
thing, as opposed to me just digging into the chips with my bare hand, which I don't do. I follow, I'm very good. Or people that try to pick apart the pizza and it's stuck because the crust wasn't cut properly and you're sitting there struggling with it. And I'm just like, rip, there's your pizza. Don't, like, I just have,
Of course.
and it's obviously, if it's you and me and our families, none of us care because we're all very friendly. You have to care a little more about when it comes to strangers. I just think that there's just so many things that we just don't. Think of your mailbox, your mail. How many people touch your mail? How gross is that? The mailman, the person in the mailroom, the person who delivered it to the mailroom, the person who sent it,
Who's licking the stamp?
who's licking the stamp, and I just think there's so many
course.
spots that you
I'm
can't.
not suggesting there's not millions of really disgusting ways.
I just
like
lick everything.
the said
Any
Culvers,
disc you ever get sent from me, I've probably licked
the
it.
said Culvers you just described. I have no idea that the person that literally went in front of me didn't just get done wiping their nose and slapping it right on the handle that I'm about to open the door.
Yep.
I understand that. But I also think if there's a reasonable chance or a reasonable opportunity to do something to mitigate it, I will. That's all. Just like I'd love to see, and I think this is something that could come as a result of it. In the last few years, you've seen a lot more businesses and companies, gas stations, restaurants, go with the foot pedestal on the inside of a bathroom door, so that when you do have to open it up, you can open it up with your foot, as opposed to using any kind of your arms or your hands or whatever. Again, I love that idea. I think that industry, for the easy fix that is, I'd love to see that implemented in a lot more places, because I think it's incredibly easy and it makes perfect sense.
Just use my elbow if it's a push door.
Yeah, as will I. I mean, I do that anyway. I get it, but
we have a glass door at work that goes into our office. Two clear glass doors, and they actually had to put something on it because one person ran into one of the doors. So, and I use my elbow and my shoulder strictly not because I care about the germs.
You don't want to
strictly
get the smudges.
I don't want to get the smudges, and I don't want to be the guy responsible for somehow smudging up the glass door. I would rather just use my elbow or my shoulder because if I'm at work, I'm almost always wearing a long sleeve shirt. Just going into the office that way.
No, I mean, and there's a valid argument to this day where whether you get at it or not in the chat board or you've read it, there's a valid argument when someone says, okay, we're trying to, stay away from these people and have these restaurant pickups, except for you're going there, you're still making this exchange, something they were touching, you're touching. You may or may not be handing them, and I know a lot of places are taking it online, but you may or may not be handing them a credit card, which then they're taking, wiping
Apple
somewhere
Pay
and
for the
handing
win.
back to you. I understand. We're never going to be able to avoid all of those situations. And I think some have already thought about it, and some will keep doing it old school, and you have to deal with it. I understand.
Someone on the board says, learn about germ theory, or please educate. And the other thing I think is that it might not be good that we're doing all these precautions. You've seen different studies say that all of the hand sanitizers is just building up stronger germs. And it's like, we need to get dirty. I have no problem. I always joked about my kids, but it's true. Like, I remember literally, it was the grossest thing I think I've ever seen. When my daughter was very little and we were just putting her on the toilet, we were in a public bathroom. I watched her just fold up and put her mouth on the toilet seat. And I was like, oh God. And I thought, and it was the grossest.
That's why I don't hug your daughter.
It was the grossest thing I ever saw. And she was, 3, 4 maybe. And I was just like, oh, that's so gross. And I thought, whatever. Like, I just think, like, cool, you're going to brush your teeth tonight. You're going to, and I just feel like there, obviously with COVID, it's different. It's a very deadly germ, but in general, I'm all about building up immunity, touching, licking, handling, whatever we need to do. Although I will say the cashless society is very nice just because for convenience. I love my iPhone, my Apple Pay. I just go boop, and I don't have to carry cash with me.
Yeah, and I'll say this, before this all came about, which did work somewhat in my favor, if you want to say that, I've always, I don't want to say been well known, that would be overstating. I've always been a guy that has 1 to 3 different forms of cleanliness or sanitizer or wipes. Or it's funny because just tonight I put on my winter jacket that I haven't worn in months. In the pocket from a couple months ago was a little bottle of hand sanitizer. I'm just a big fan of them. I also travel more than the average guy. So it's not crazy. For the last probably 5 years, when I walk around with a backpack that's got my computers and all my stuff when I go to a tournament, absolute bare minimum, I have at least one packet of wipes. I think I've really got into that, especially since having 2 kids. Always just have a set of wipes with me, no matter what. This was way pre-COVID. I wouldn't consider myself a germaphobe, but I also don't mind always having access to being able to truly clean my hands or get them pretty much clean. So
Adam Lawrence says, who gets sick more, JVD or Terry? Terry, hands down.
Yeah.
And that's not because I think you're clean. You travel more.
And I don't even think it's the travel. I honestly don't think it's the travel. I don't think it's that I travel more. I think I lead a unhealthier lifestyle when it comes to my sleeping habits. I think that has large in part because it's not.
I don't know. Considering when I wake up at 6 a.m. and let's just say I get on the computer probably about 8 a.m. at work, and I see that you're away for 2 hours, and I think, oh, Terry went to bed about 6 a.m. right when I was getting up.
And now, granted, I may not get up till 10 or 11 or noon, but in general, when I am in a normal, I'll say a completely normal weekly routine, it's not uncommon for me to get 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. When I go to a tournament, whether it's live or post-production, it's not uncommon for me to have a 3 or 4 night sleep schedule and to do that for 4 or 5 nights in a row. And then just in general, I'm not much of a sleeper. So I think my immune system in general is always compromised for that reason. And then the fact on top of it, I do travel. I was in 22 different states last year in 6 different countries.
Yeah.
That's a lot of travel. I touched probably a lot of disgusting things, whether I like it or not.
Correct. I will say that I've been more cognizant of using hand sanitizer because in general, I don't like using it. I would rather wash my hands with soap and water than use some hand sanitizer. But because of what we're going through right now, I feel more comfortable for other people. Like daily when I'm at work, someone walks over to my desk, even though they should be emailing, and they say, oh, John, I just have a quick thing. Can you come over here and help me? Okay. I walk up, and then rather than have them try to show me, I usually sit down at the computer. I'm like, all right, tell me what the problem is. And I'm touching their keyboard. I'm touching their mouse. And at work, we have a decent amount of hand sanitizer right now because we have some public people come in and out. I will usually try to use hand sanitizer right before I touch their computer or right after I touch it. Whereas if normally I don't care. I know how disgusting keyboards and mice can be from people. I've seen some of the grossest things you can imagine when someone brings a laptop or a keyboard back from wherever and you turn it upside down and nothing but crumbs comes out of it or fingernails or whatever comes out of it. I understand that. And it's one of those things I feel I'm immune isn't the right word. I am less bothered by gross things like that. I'm bothered by other gross things, but just not that particularly.
One other gross thing that I won't say I watch, but I'm a little conscious of when I see it happening, and I've said this before, is watching a bartender make all these drinks, take your money, take this money, replace some bottles, maybe do some dishes, maybe not, do a million things, and then at the very end of mixing a drink, they grab a straw with their hand, they grab a little mixer or stirring straw if you're getting a mixed drink or someone is, and put that in your drink. That's kind of gross because they're grabbing probably right about where you're going to put your mouth on it.
Alcohol's going to kill that.
But on top of it, they just got done taking that lime for your rum and Coke and then squeezing it over your drink and then letting it drop in. Some put it on the edge. I get it. Most will just drop it into your drink. And I just think about the 30 disgusting things they just did with their hands where they didn't wash them. They squeeze your lime and then drop the whole thing into your drink.
I
call me silly. It disgusts me.
That's fine. I'm not. You are silly, but
you're disgusting. Is what you are.
I don't care. Honestly,
that's why.
And again, the same guy that you're gonna hand money to, and he's gonna give you money back, and you're gonna hand him $1 tip, and the money that just exchanged hands that's touched 17 times because you're probably not opening up a tab. And even if you are, he's touched 52 other credit cards just after he touched yours. And I just think that, again, I know we're beating this to death. It's one of those things like everybody's going to touch everything. I got no problem with it. I understand what we're going through right now is different. It's a more extreme situation, so everyone needs to take extra precaution. I'm not some sort of weird denier on this. I'm taking precautions for my family and whatnot. But when we get back to everyday life,
so do you think things won't change? I think that's where this question started.
I give us 15 days before nobody cares.
Okay, and everything just goes back.
Everything
to
goes back to normal after they say, and I'll say this: after they say there's a vaccine.
Okay.
Like,
and then whether all feel like superhuman immune,
whether that's
or
November, whether that's next March, whenever it eventually happens. It sounds like that they're doing trials and things like that. I have a feeling it'll happen, just not as soon as people will like. I made a joke on Twitter that said single people are going to be rubbing everything on everything. It's just the way it's going to be. People are social creatures. They want to touch, especially single people.
Oh, I'm going to have so many pent-up hugs to give out that you guys better watch out. When I get on tour, it's going to be the Tear Bear hugging tour. There won't be even disc golf being played. It won't
I think you give it 15 days and people are going to go back to everything
like
practically.
Not caring.
They're not. For the most part. The one thing you might see a little bit more of, you might see a few more people wearing masks in general. Because you see it over in Japan quite a bit.
Yeah, it's everyday practice.
It's a culture over there. That some of that might come over here.
What I will say, and this again may wear off, it will at a certain point, at least America's getting a deep clean right now. Like, things are being touched and cleaned and
not
looked
my
at
house, but
so much more. Like, I think of so many companies around the world that are possibly getting the best or deepest or the most thorough cleaning that they've received in some of them years or decades. Like, people, U.S. at least, I think is getting a deep clean right now. Now, granted, there may never be another deep clean in our lifetime, but that is one takeaway that I think will be great is everything is getting cleaned up. Like, think, our airports have never been cleaner.
Probably
our
not.
bus stations, our subway, like all of those things.
Right now have such the urge to touch your face just everywhere, and I'm not going to do it. But I have this urge right now just to just rub my hands all over
really
your face.
Again, I'm not.
I know,
and you germaphobe here, people.
And no, I know you're not. And you and I are.
I just like
different
to be clean. I don't think that's crazy either. I mean, I'm not Howie Mandel.
No, you're not
crazy. Anyway, all right, yeah. We'll see. We'll just move off the topic. I think it's too easy to then take it to we'll say a political level, and you can get so much more deep into the weeds after that, and you can argue with conspiracy theories and all sorts of other funny stuff that's out there. Sam Martin asks, do you want to talk about the incident in Portland? It's fringe COVID, but I do want to touch on it quickly. Out at Pier Park, which many would say is one of the more iconic and just beautiful parks that we see for disc golf, there was vandalism, and I believe it was 4 baskets that were intentionally destroyed, mutated.
They were
cut.
They were cut at the point where the pole meets the bottom of the basket,
and I think on the upper entrapment too.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yeah.
I saw. I think I saw 1 or 2 pictures. I saw one where the bottom of the entrapment was cut all along, so that the basket basically just fell and was more or less unfixable.
Yeah, they
have to buy
destroyed.
A new cage.
They absolutely destroyed baskets, and we don't know who they is unless there's some news that I'm not aware of. But someone said just on the board moments ago 8. I thought it was 4. I heard it was 4 baskets were destroyed, and the other 14 were removed so that nothing else could happen to them. But same thing. We're still wondering. The theories are these disgruntled disc golfers that are ticked off that they're getting yelled at or shouldn't be out there golfing, or what I think is way more logical, are these disgruntled neighbors or passerbys or non-disc golfers that see golfers out there playing and not adhering to to guidelines, and they came out and said, hey, these people aren't adhering to these guidelines. We're going to destroy what they're playing on. That's my personal guess.
Weren't we just at Pier Park last year, you and I?
No.
What park were we at?
That's Milo.
Oh, Milo. Okay, that's why. I was going to say that it is Pier Park.
It's in the city.
It's right in the city. Okay.
In the city.
So that makes more sense to me that it would be someone. Yeah, that's right. Milo and Pier. Okay, duh. That would make more sense that it was somebody on the outside, because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense for a golfer to do it. I know sometimes I hold golfers in a much higher regard than they should. Sometimes I hold them in a much lower. Sometimes I hold them in a much lower regard than I should as well. It doesn't make sense to be a golfer based on the way it did it. It makes more sense for it to be someone on the outside being upset that probably golfers were not adhering to whatever local ordinances they probably maybe should have been, or whoever thought they should have been.
And by all means, it could be, dare I say, someone in the middle of those two concepts. It could be some disc golfers who are just ticked off that there's no more sanctioned golf for the next month or two, and they thought, hey, I'm going to go out and ruin the baskets because I'm just really ticked off at the situation. It could be something like that.
It could.
But I don't think it was, as maybe suggested, I don't think it had anything to do with the idea of theft or recouping the baskets or the metal or any kind of scrap metal. I don't think there was any kind of theft perspective to it, because if they were going to cut all of that metal, they literally would have just tried to cut at the base of the basket and been able to walk off with the whole thing. It looked very intentional, and it looked very, I don't know if egregious is the word, but very specific to ruining the actual basket itself.
I've seen my fair share of CSI.
Yeah, you have. I mean, those germs. let's get out the UV light for those.
I mean, what I would do is just go to every neighbor, find all their clippers.
Yep.
Make a couple, striation checks. And then double check it against the basket. I mean, clearly,
and you bring it up on a glass screen that runs all these data numbers.
Yep,
and Ice-T would be looking over your shoulder.
That's SVU. That's not CSI.
I don't even honestly. I don't know, but okay,
it's a different thing.
So LL Cool J.
I don't know which one he's in, but I would just keep saying enhance.
Yes, and then it keeps zooming in,
and then I would figure out who it was, and it was Carol Baskins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's definitely what you guys could do.
That's was Vegas, Miami, or New York? Vegas. I watched the original Vegas CSI.
That was the original?
Yeah, that was the original. That was before
New York?
Yes, before New York and before Miami, where they
got
Vegas was the very first one. I think I watched probably the first couple seasons. When the main guy left, the salt and pepper haired guy, when he left, I kind of fell off the show. That was maybe 6 or 7 seasons. I think it went for 10 or 12 or 14, but at that point I just kind of fell off. I never watched the Miami. I never watched New York City.
I'm definitely
the spinoffs.
I don't know of any of the CSI stuff. I only can think of SVU stuff, which I've never seen probably a full episode of either.
And
which was before which?
Oh, I mean, Law and Order was way before CSI, but that was the original Law and Order, which we were.
Don't they have like 9 different cities they're in too?
There was Law and Order. There was Law and Order SVU, and then there was the Law and Order Criminal Intent, the one with the big dude. Yeah, I think there's at least three different Law and Orders. There's probably more that didn't make it, but I still enjoy the original Law and Order. I don't like the SVU. It's just too gruesome. Like it's morbid. I would rather watch, I don't know.
I think
but I don't have cable, so I haven't really watched any. I watched a couple episodes of the original Law and Order the last time we were on vacation at a hotel. Before we went to bed, we turned on the TV and it was on, and I was like, oh, I haven't watched this in 15 years. So.
Wow. So real quick, first of all, let me say, SVU, CSI, all of those, add up every single one of those shows, all combined in every city with every variation. I don't think I've seen a full hour total, probably, of all of those. They just were never my thing. So that's why I'm lost when you're talking about which one is which.
Sure.
Someone did post, and we'll get to another good question after this one, but someone posted, y'all are overthinking it. Vandalism happens all the time. Doubt it had anything to do with any of that. My only Keaton on the board says that. My only problem with that is, and you're right, vandalism does happen all the time. This seemed to be so specific, and are vandals that bored right now? And I mean, because I feel like
it just seems
I know vandalism doesn't always come out of not being bored. Probably most of it does, but to go out and to do something that's that time consuming, that's that specific, to destroy those, to cut rings off the basket, so to speak, and to cut specific spots on the basket to totally destroy them beyond the point of repair. There was an intent. The question who is to be determined, but there was an intent. I don't think that was bored vandals just running around with nothing to do.
It just feels very specific. If there was
Targeted.
other vandalism,
targeted,
dun
dun.
Yeah.
Look at that
dun
pun.
dun dun.
Exactly.
If there was other vandalism in the area, fences cut, things like that, I would lean more towards general vandalism, but it sounds like it was focused on the disc golf basket. So,
and then the next question or the comment that came off the board, and this has received a lot of conversation. Stephen Ashley here specifically writes, do you think there will be a discount for next year's PDGA memberships? How many would renew, you think, with how things was handled or were handled? I'll take that quickly and say,
okay.
I'll start by saying, I come from a different viewpoint than many of you, and I posted this on Facebook in a debate group, so I'll just regurgitate my thought there. At the beginning of this year, or end of last year, whenever it was, I signed up for the PDGA. I renewed for the PDGA, which I first signed up for as a high school kid, 10738. I renewed for the PDGA with the assumption that I would play in 0 PDGA events this year.
Mm-hmm.
I had absolutely 0 PDGA events on my calendar. I potentially would run 1 or 2 sanctioned events, but potentially. But I was going to play in 0 of them. And I personally never hesitated to spend the $75 to renew as a professional. My 2 daughters, who probably were going to play in the Women's Global, who do not have to be current, my 2 daughters, I will still pay for their full PDGA membership this year. I hadn't done it. Honestly, I didn't even realize I didn't. I thought I did, but I looked the other day, and apparently I haven't. I will pay for that maybe as early as tomorrow. I come from a different point, though, and like I said, they may play in 0 or probably will play in 0 PDGA events this year. I don't want to say I blindly, but I gladly hand over that money with the support, or with the idea of just giving the PDGA the support. And I understand someone else's argument that says I was only going to play in the GBO this year. I had to be current. Therefore, I renewed. The GBO has been canceled, and I want my money back, or I want this somehow reconciled, or whatever you might be saying. I understand your perspective. That's where I say almost anything I say about it is it's just a different set of glasses. I was gladly paying the full renewal amount for myself and for my 2 children with the intent of playing 1 or no PDGA events all year long. I think 2 junior renewals are, I think, probably $25 a piece, and my $75. So that $125 I would pay to the PDGA regardless. I've said this before. If I broke my arm or my right arm got cut off tomorrow, knock on wood, I would still pay that on an annual basis. I understand not everyone has such strong affiliation or ties. That's just where I am.
But you're different.
I'm very different. Lots of people have told me that.
I fall in line with you, and I think a lot of people do. But there are some people who specifically sign up for the PDGA to get the discount on the tournaments.
Absolutely. And I'm good with that.
Here's what I think will happen. I think there will be no refunds, but your membership will be extended. It will be extended 6 months, we'll say. Let's just assume this started in March, because we know it did, and it goes till September. I think the PDGA will probably say, all right, everybody, we've taken your memberships, and we are going to push them out 6 months worth of time, so that you're not getting any money back, because I think that would really hurt the PDGA to have to refund all that money. Whereas if this hurts them less, I mean, it's still a hit on the pocketbook, regardless of how you want to see it. But having to actually send out additional money is a big pain in the butt.
Well, the logistics of the refunds would
correct.
lose thousands of additional dollars.
Correct. How much do you refund? Is it for half the amount? Whatever you want to look at. I do think the PDG will probably step up, assuming this goes until, we'll say, September. If this ends in June, I don't think you're going to see a 3-month extension.
Yeah.
I think if it hits at least around 5 to 6 months, you will probably see the PDGA say something along the lines of, everybody's membership is extended for 6 more months. Let's get out and play some disc golf.
Yeah,
that's my personal thought.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up with, I feel like I saw it somewhere. There won't be any refunds, and I personally don't feel like there should be. Now, depending on if or when things get up and rolling, some form of extension I'm on board with, I think is great. The actual concept of refunds of any level, of any kind, for any person, I'm pretty sure it even states somewhere within even the PDGA, it says no refunds or transfers will be given. I'm almost positive that was posted somewhere as something that was already written for the PDGA. Now, you can love or hate that policy, but I'm okay with it, and I think it's a matter of, like Johnny just said, it's a matter of time. Do we determine if there's something else they'll do for you? It might be an extension. It might be some form of discount on next year, depending on when this year gets kicked back up. I think there's I'm not going to tell them how to do it. I'm sure they've had 150,000 ideas thrown at them. So we can speculate all we want.
I don't like,
but until we know when this season goes back into effect, I don't think there's any solid answer. I even at this point, even if we started back up tomorrow, let's just say the season, I know it's not, but let's say the season kicked back off tomorrow, I don't think it would be appropriate to extend for all of next year or to waive next year's fees or whatever. I think we have to wait to see when this is done and then take the best, most practical measure at that point, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of things that will be on the table.
I think logistically,
but refunds aren't happening. Just quit posting, quit asking, quit expecting. All of that. It says right in black and white, no refunds or transfers of your membership.
And I think even a discount next year would be confusing for people.
It might.
Because someone who's signing up for the first year would be like, oh, how come I paid $27 or whatever? I don't even know what the fee is anymore. I just pay it. $30 this year, and next year I have to pay $60? Like, what's going on? I think that again, I'm going to reiterate, I think the move is the extension of your current, whenever you registered, that they just push it 6 additional months. Because we are not all on the same cycle anymore. Is that correct?
We are. It is. It's a 1 year. That's why an extension in the next year.
And I think that there was talk months ago, if not a year ago, that they were finally going to be able to get the difference. Like, you'll be able to, if you sign up in March, it'll go till next March. If you sign up in
that doesn't happen now.
No, I know, but they had talked about doing that. I think it was last year. So maybe this just rolls that. Hopefully, maybe they can roll that out all in this one continuous deal. But who knows? I don't.
And Seth on our board says, for the benefit of the sport, new members should get a full year extension. Maybe. And what I'd say to that is, what if, and here's where we have to know the time frame, but what if a new member signed up in January and all they cared about was playing in the Portland Open? I'll just make up an example here. All they cared about was playing in the Portland Open. Well, let's say they get to play in the Portland Open this year. Let's say that still happens on July 3rd through the 5th. DGP.com, you're welcome. But let's say they get to play in that. Should they get the same extension as someone that only signed up with the intent of just playing in the GBO?
But you can't.
I mean, you can't determine
intent.
intention. So therefore,
this isn't Law and Order. Dun dun dun.
I just feel like no brains that Johnny and I have or share or could combine have an answer yet until we realize when this officially ends, and then I think you have to assess from there. And as I said, I'm sure they're getting plenty of suggestions,
and I'm sure they're going to work it out and figure it out in the future. And we'll just when they decide, we'll talk about it.
Keep in mind, just something to throw in the back of your head when you're forming either your viewpoint or your argument on this. All the PDGA employees collect checks. They still, in theory, need to get paid. There's still rental costs and units and whatnot that go on at our PDGA headquarters, which some of your membership goes toward. There's still a website that still needs to be maintained. And probably most importantly, the number one source of revenue for the PDGA is sanctioned tournaments. And so now you're taking the number one, well, maybe outside of memberships, maybe not, I don't know. But you're going to take one of the largest incomes and you're negating all of that and putting that to zero for a number of months at the PDGA. So I understand that your membership is valuable to you, and I agree, it's valuable to me. But just know that there's all these other things that are still happening on the back end, and the PDGA is losing money every single day because it's not getting its number one revenue generator, which is sanctioned tournaments.
I heard
keep it all in perspective.
All tournaments are free next year.
Yeah, all tournaments, and they all have $200,000 payouts.
But let's not get crazy.
Oh, sorry, 150.
All right, let's give something away from our Patreon supporters.
Only if you're a PDGA member and you feel screwed. I'm totally kidding. No, seriously. So I opened this whole thing with my diatribe just stating Johnny V and I have a slightly different perspective. I understand your perspective's different, and that's totally fine. Everyone's got their own angle, and I think about everything else that's, again, down the line in this domino effect of you also being what you feel like is out your money, while where else the money is not adding up or is not coming through later on down the road. All right. We have something to give away. Exciting news is you probably saw your email today. Woo! Tear Bear did some postaging.
Yeah, I
is
did
the official
see that.
term.
I did see that.
Lots of caught up. Lots of caughting up to do today.
Don't open it for 14 days.
Yep. If you want to set it aside, that's fine. I'm going to continue to package stuff up with gloves on. And then put the gloves right in the package with you. No. His hands are that small? Yes. So I did get really caught up, though. There were a few that were lingering. Honestly, there was one email from someone when I was overseas. I just never even saw it from you. Somehow, obviously, it got sent to me. I never even clicked on it or saw it. I was like, oh, this person's been waiting on something since like the end of January. Lots of emails sent out. A lot of stuff was followed up on today, and those probably won't trigger the actual post office until morning. But I feel good. As always, though, full disclaimer, if you're missing something, you haven't received an email from me, shoot me a message, and we'll make sure that it gets out to you. I've been cleaning my office, so trust me, I'm trying to get everything out of there and send you your free goodies. And another dozen, some related to SmashBoxx, some weren't, but another dozen packages went out today alone. So, and the first wave of Patreon discs went out, with hopefully the second wave completing tomorrow.
You have all the addresses?
I have a handful of them that I sent out. I think you sent me the file. I pulled from the ones that I already had of people, like Dan Harbeck and Ryan Pilcher.
Okay. We need to talk.
Okay.
Before you send out any more.
Well, again, thank goodness the first wave was a small one, but
yeah.
I sent them all to Milwaukee to you.
Yeah, because I don't.
Okay.
Anyway, if you'd like to be eligible for our weekly giveaway, you can do so at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. Because of you, we can do this every single week, and we can have all of our favorite guests on every single week. It's we for the most part, we don't take advertising. It's just we would rather be supported by our fans, and then we're not obliged to do anything or sell anything that we don't believe in, Simon style.
Except for those towels. Bring on the
Send me some towels, but we do take free stuff. We'll turn around and say, again, patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV for as little as $1 a month. You can be eligible for our giveaway. Yeah, that's the deal. We have 204 people this week eligible for our giveaway. Terry, give me a number.
Would any number except for 19 be the appropriate number?
I can hit 19 times if you want.
No, I don't want to do that. How about we had 2 guests tonight. We'll just go with
all right, the good old fashioned number 2. Number 15 and number 99.
I got 99.
99.
All right, how are they sorted tonight?
They're sorted
Johnny?
by email address.
Email address.
99 Joseph Thomas.
Joseph Thomas, that's a new name.
Congratulations, Joseph Thomas. You are tonight's Patreon winner. I will send you an email. Actually, I'll send Terry an email with your information. He'll reach out to you to make sure that we have all the correct stuff, and then you will see it when you see it.
Yeah.
Probably sooner
than later this
with
time.
this stuff. So
yeah.
Again, thank you everybody who supports us. We couldn't do a lot of what we do without you guys. It's very much appreciated.
And Ryan Pilcher, one of our favorite Smashies out there, not only had won some stuff from me in previous auctions and raffles, but also getting his Patreon disc. That's on the way. Great to be getting all of this stuff out to you guys, and super appreciating it. Go out, make sure you consume some of the coverage that's out there, and then we'll talk a little bit about how next week, if it ends up being next week.
Thank you, Ronald Harkey. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
As I made the joke to him on the board, this is from USDGC.
Yep.
2018.
Is it really? No.
It says 2018 on it. It's the 20-year one. I'm sure you didn't get it in 28. I hope you didn't get it in 20. And tonight, Terry handed this to me.
I was cleaning up the office last night from about 11 till 4 a.m. trying to get a little studio setting in there and removing some discs. And I'm just going through. There's boxes I literally haven't opened. I've got
stuff like that.
I've got a lot of good stuff that I was like, oh, I know what this is. I don't even need to open it. And then I know there's some goodies in there, so I'll save that for another rainy day, another viral outbreak or something. And
let's hope not.
But one of the boxes that was open, but I clearly didn't dig through enough, was a package from Ronald Harkey, one of our favorite Smashies, who just celebrated our birthday not too long ago. And in there was a little care package from the USDGC with an item for Johnny and an item for myself. So I finally packed it along to bring it over tonight. So we appreciate that. Yes, if you're wondering, you guys can bribe us, and we're open to that as well.
We take briberies.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to read a few things off the board, and then we're going to start. We're going to what?
This might be our longest podcast.
Oh, no, it's not.
I know.
I'm just going to read a few things off the board. If you have anything for us, please make sure to send it over right now. C. Crasta1 says, I'm rewatching 2017 Aussie Open Round 1. That sounds good. I'd like to know what you guys are watching for footage. Are you rehashing? I know Dana said that last week. Whether you find it entertaining or not, when I was looking at my vlogs, my first 4 or 5, I'm alone. And then starting around, I think it's 6 or 8 or 9, one of those, I go to the memorial that year. This is 2010.
Okay.
And one in particular, the first one when I'm there, we're at Fountain Hills, and it is myself. I wonder who's holding the camera. But anyway, we're at Fountain Hills, and I'm with Brian Graham, our executive director. I am with Jim Oates, world champion and owner of Final 9 Sports over in California, and Dave Greenwell. And we talk about the live broadcast that's happening that Disc Golf Planet was putting on, and I catch up with all of those gentlemen, and that was the first time I had a vlog that was interview style. And of course then I had 3 of the legends in our sport all standing next to me. The next few vlogs featured Avery Jenkins, one had Nico LaCastro with big hair, one was Ken Climo, Greg Barsby, and then Josh Anthon. Those were 5 of my first 10 vlogs, and we're talking about some of the greatest to ever play the game. So ignore some of the technical components, but you will be wildly entertained if you go back and look at some of that footage. That's 10 years old already, which I haven't aged a day.
You've aged 10 years.
No, not at all. I just watched Simon's video where Terry broke his old whippet. Yes, that is a heartbreaker. Older, yes, new commentary. That's one suggestion that's got thrown around. Hannah Macbeth posted earlier, and she said, I wonder if somebody could like get permission from Marty McFly, who was kind of notorious for posting video coverage without any commentary of any kind. He did that method for a couple years, and then had a few where he did get commentary. But if that footage could get repurposed to put on commentary, and that's one idea. Or there was a few months maybe, or even longer, where I put up coverage with zero commentary, and some of that could certainly get repurposed. That would be kind of fun all these years later. Andy says 10 years ago seems like yesterday, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I hear you with how slow things have been moving around here. Someone asked earlier if they should get a Zuka cart. They're great carts. They support disc golf. I've been thoroughly impressed. I have no tie or any compensation by Zuka.
As much as we hint, they have yet to send us free ones.
Yeah, jeez. But I will say they very graciously give back time and time again to disc golf. I know they support the Pro Tour, they support the National Tour, they support large events, they've supported small events, they've supported a little bit of my video coverage in various places around the country or around the world in the past. I have no ongoing tie with them, but they have been very gracious, and it sounds like they're always open to improvements and recommendations. They've been great. So if you can afford one, I don't know why you wouldn't want to get one. Ray asked, do I have any footage in the bank to post? And I'll just say yes. MVP from last year, Ledgestone from last year, and Memorial from last year. All rounds that are bonus. So yes, look for all those. Do a random live stream from your storage unit. That might happen once it gets a little nicer. Anything else out there that you saw, Johnny, that you need to answer or touch on?
I didn't see anything.
How are your stocks today?
I haven't looked at my stocks in a couple weeks.
All right. I'm broke. I'm just kidding. I'm not. All right, guys. Well, then I think we're going to call it unless you guys have anything else. Yes, Zuka is that's where Zuka got their start. Zuka is a travel, I don't want to say compartment company, a travel luggage equipment type company. I think their biggest industry was makeup and cosmetics.
Sure.
And so a lot of people can compartmentalize. They have a lot of different zippered pouches and bags and accessory packs that then people would then put into Zukas. That's where, that's their market. That's their main market, in fact. And then it was once somebody Joe took and adopted that and then modified it to turn it into a disc golf related item. But yes, that's 100%. So there'll be times you'll walk through an airport, you could see a 10-year-old pulling a Zuka cart behind because they've got something in it, or you could see an adult pulling something behind because they've got cosmetics or something like that. Like they were 100% not disc golf and then brought into disc golf. So it's not uncommon to see that. All right, guys, we're going to close it out. We appreciate you guys for joining us. We got to, again, thank Simon Lizotte for joining us earlier. Yuli, until the technical difficulties took him over. Maybe he unplugged his phone or his cable again, and it became unrecoverable, our internet connection between
Yuli
us
became corrupt.
Yes, he certainly did. Hopefully his girlfriend, Mercedes, will get that figured out. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guys, this has been podcast number 291. Wow. We appreciate you guys joining us as we creep closer to that magic 3 number. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.